Chapter 734. Brother Qin Feng. It's fine if you don't know him. Come with me to the Hong sect, I'll treat you well. Ao Wuchang patted Qin Feng's shoulder and dragged him back for a drink. Qin Feng quickly refused. Brother Wuchang, I have something important to do today. Why don't I pay you a visit another day? Ao Wuchang glanced at the 13 gangsters who were groaning in pain on the ground. Then he looked at Qin Feng and asked, Brother, do you really have something to do today? If I do, we'll meet another day. Qin Feng nodded firmly. All right, I won't force you. I'm going to bring these 13 gangsters back to the Hong sect and interrogate them. How dare they lay their hands on my little sister, Ao Wuchang? Are they seeking death? Ao Wuchang said as he ran to the 13 gangsters and threw them into a pile. The 13 gangsters piled up like a human pyramid. The gangster who was at the bottom of the pile started to roll his eyes and felt like his intestines were going to fall out. Vroom vroom vroom. At this time, a dozen SUVs arrived at the foot of the mountain. They sped along the mountain road like wild leopards. Chief Wuchang, we're late. Please punish us. A dozen SUVs stopped by the side. 4 to 5 people jumped out from each of the SUVs. With more than 40 people surrounding them, it was a formidable scene. You bunch of good-for-nothings. I'm miles ahead of you even on a horse. What's the use of you? Ao Wuchang glared at the members of the Hong sect. None of them dared to say a word. No one knew when Ao Wuchang had developed this habit. Whenever he lost his temper, his feet would itch. He raised his leg and stomped on the ground. Qin Feng felt the ground tremble slightly. Ao Wuchang's stomp created a pit that was more than 30 centimeters deep. The disciples of Hong sect seemed to have gotten used to Ao Wuchang stomping on the ground when he lost his temper. They heaved a long sigh of relief when they saw the deep pit on the ground. Fortunately, they didn't stomp on the ground in the Hong sect's courtyard. Otherwise, they would have to fill the pit with cement for a long time. Brother Qin Feng, I'll be leaving with my little sister now. You must come to the Hong sect when you're free. Ao Wuchang put on a bright smile and looked at Qin Feng. The disciples of Hong sect stole a glance at Qin Feng. This kid must have a high status since Chief Wuchang called him brother. Brother Wuchang, I wonder if you can lend me your car? Qin Feng asked. Ao Wuchang slapped his forehead and said, Ao, look at how stupid I am. I almost left my brother alone in this wilderness. How am I supposed to go back? Ao Wuchang turned to his lackey and yelled, Huang Jingua, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and give your car to Brother Qin Feng. The man called Huang Jingua hurriedly came to Qin Feng's side and gave him a car key. Big Brother Qin, you can drive the car however you want. You can return it whenever you want. Qin Feng looked at Huang Jingua and nodded. Huang Jingua was quite a smart guy. The fact that Ao Wuchang could call out his name meant that he had a high position in the Hong sect. Brother Qin Feng, we'll take our leave first. Ao Wuchang was an impatient person. He came like the wind and left in a hurry. Ao Wuchang had already pulled his sister onto the horse. Ao Shaowan looked back at Qin Feng and said, Qin Feng, you must come to the Hong sect to look for me when you have time. Ao Shaowan's voice was soft as if he was acting coquettishly. The Hong sect members who were about to leave with Qin Feng suddenly slipped and almost fell to the ground. What is wrong with this young lady today? The Hong sect members left in a grandiose manner. Ao Wuchang ordered the 13 gangsters of Hong Kong to tie them to the roof of the SUV and take them for a ride. Qin Feng felt a chill in his heart when he heard the miserable wails of the 13 gangsters. This Ao Wuchang is too fucking cruel. After the Hong sect members had left, Qin Feng drove the SUV to the Resplendent Golden Club. When he arrived at the entrance of the club, there were only 10 minutes left before the auction began. Qin Feng quickly parked the car and walked into the club. The Resplendent Golden Club was one of the top high-end clubs in Hong Kong. The interior was splendidly decorated, and the waiters and receptionists were as beautiful as the A-list celebrities. Those who came to the auction tonight were all rich people. Just their clothes alone were worth at least 5 million yuan. Qin Feng looked like a country bumpkin among these people. Many people were already seated in the auction hall. The front row seats were already occupied. Most of the Hong Kong tycoons were in the crowd. There were also some rich businessmen from the mainland and foreign countries. Qin Feng walked into the hall and glanced around. He walked to the last empty seat and sat down. Not long after he sat down, Wei Tianhao, Honda and Ghost-Stealing Lord entered the hall. They did not sit in the public area. Instead, they went to a row of VIP rooms on the left side of the aisle. At this time, a beautiful woman in a red cheongsam walked onto the stage. She had heavy makeup on, and her cheongsam was slit all the way to her thighs. Her ample upper body was clearly visible. As soon as she appeared, the men below the stage gasped in surprise. Haha! Good evening to all the tycoons from all over the world. The beautiful woman stood on the stage and winked at the people below the stage. Immediately, the audience below the stage responded. After everyone quieted down, the beautiful woman continued. Tonight, our international auction house will hold this year's international auction at the glorious Golden Clubhouse. There will be treasures from all over the country being auctioned. If you see something that catches your eye, please seize the opportunity and make your move. I'm tonight's auctioneer Jiao Jiao. Now, I announce the official start of tonight's international auction house. As soon as Jiao Jiao's voice fell, the audience below the stage cheered loudly. 4 young beauties in pink cheongsam with lotus flowers walked onto the stage. Each of them held an exquisite box in their hands. The 4 of them walked onto the stage and stood in a straight line. Everyone's eyes fell on the boxes in their hands. Now let me introduce to everyone the first auction item of the night. For glass-type jadeite. As soon as the first auction item was presented, the audience below the stage gasped in surprise. Jiao Jiao continued. Since everyone here is a tycoon, I'm sure you all know about the glass-type jadeite. Glass-type jadeite, as the name suggests, is as transparent as glass. The quality is very fine, and the crystal particles are very dense. It's the best type of jadeite. Those who know the trade all know that under normal circumstances, most glass-type jadeite comes from old pits. It's called the old pit glass type. The old pit glass type jadeite is the essence of the mountains and rivers for hundreds of millions of years. It contains rich spiritual qi from heaven and earth. It's very nourishing to wear. Jiao Jiao said a lot of tempting words. Many tycoons below the stage couldn't wait to bid. Seeing that the atmosphere in the hall had been stirred up, Jiao Jiao began to bid. According to the previous trading price of glass-type jadeite, a finger-sized ring surface can be sold for 10 million yuan. Today, these 4 glass-type jadeite are of different sizes. The small one is the size of a thumb, and the big one is the size of a ping-pong ball. The 4 glass-type jadeite can only be auctioned together, not separately. The starting price is 50 million yuan. Each bid must be at least 1 million yuan. Jiao Jiao had already bid. As soon as her voice fell, someone below the stage began to raise the price. 60 million. A Hong Kong businessman with a strong Hong Kong accent shouted calmly. 70 million. This time, it was a tycoon from the mainland. When he opened his mouth, everyone could see his big golden teeth. 75 million. The bidding was very hot. Almost as soon as the voice fell, another voice sounded. This time, it was an old foreigner with blonde hair and blue eyes. Qin Feng was sitting in the last row. At this moment, the emerald spirit ring on his thumb had already reacted. According to the information on the emerald spirit ring, the 4 glass-type jadeite on the stage were 4 high-grade spiritual stones with rich spiritual qi. Qin Feng was currently collecting the materials needed to forge the cosmic flying sword. Among the materials, the demand for spiritual stones was relatively high. Qin Feng had found many spiritual stones in the Ghost Mountain ancient martial arts relic. However, they were all low-grade spiritual stones. Naturally, they were not as effective as the 4 high-grade spiritual stones in front of him. Qin Feng coveted the treasures on the stage. However, the bidding was too fierce. Although Qin Feng was also a tycoon, he still felt that it was not worth it to spend so much money on 4 spiritual stones. 100 million. Just when Qin Feng was hesitating, a voice suddenly came from the private room on the left. The voice directly raised the price to 100 million. Qin Feng recognized the voice immediately. It was Wei Tianhao's voice. Qin Feng's lips curled into a smirk. Suddenly he had an idea. This time, Wei Tianhao and the people from Japan's Yamaguchi-gumi were here to launder money. Qin Feng believed that no matter how much money he offered, they would continue to raise the price. Qin Feng was prepared to maliciously increase the price with Wei Tianhao and the others. He wanted to scam them first. In the end, he would let them buy the treasures. After that, Qin Feng would steal the treasures. The price of 100 million had reached another level. The large group of people who were actively raising the price just now immediately shut their mouths. 110 million. The Hong Kong businessman, who initially raised the price, did not back out. He was still raising the price. Wei Tianhao's voice carried a hint of disdain. He shouted coldly, 150 million. Whoosh. Before, people were raising the price by 10 million, or even 5 million. Now the price had risen to 100 million. No one expected that Wei Tianhao would raise the price by 40 million at once. His move caused an uproar. Obviously, it was beyond everyone's common sense. The face of the Hong Kong businessman who had been raising the price darkened. 150 million for the 4 pieces of glass jade was already a bit high. He believed that if he continued to raise the price, the people in the private room would also raise the price. Although the Hong Kong businessman was very unhappy, he clenched his teeth and did not say anything. The auction house suddenly fell into silence. Obviously, the price of 150 million had reached its peak. Jiao Jiao, who was standing on the stage, was also very satisfied with the price. At this moment, when she was about to drop the hammer with a smile, a sudden voice sounded. 160 million. Qin Feng shouted as if nothing had happened. Chapter 735. Qin Feng raised his bidding card and faced everyone's astonished gazes as if nothing had happened. That brat looks really young. It looks like he's a super prodigal. If his dad finds out he's squandering here, he'll definitely beat him to death. Oh my God, what a handsome Chinese man. He's rich and handsome. This must be China's Mr. Perfect. Humph. Sitting in the public hall and acting cool in front of the rich man in the private room. I'll see how you die. Everyone looked at Qin Feng in disgust. Qin Feng acted as if he didn't hear anything. The beauty Jiao Jiao on the stage was stunned. She was still holding the hammer in her hand and didn't dare to put it down. 180 million. Before everyone could recover from the shock brought by Qin Feng, Wei Xiaolei's voice came from the private room again. This time, Wei Xiaolei directly increased the bid by 30 million. His tone carried disdain and a trace of anger, causing another uproar. 200 million. Qin Feng didn't put down his bidding card and casually increased it by 20 million. The atmosphere of the auction suddenly became strange, and the voices of the intense discussion had already disappeared. Those who could attend tonight's auction could be considered the existences of rich and powerful landlords. These people had all seen the world. Everyone could already tell that Qin Feng and the rich man in the private room were at loggerheads. At this moment, everyone just needed to quietly watch the two of them act cool and avoid bringing unnecessary trouble to themselves. Didn't that song go like this? I'll quietly watch you act cool, and your dad and mom will be afraid of you. Haha. I want to see which trash from the public hall is barking here. After Qin Feng bid 200 million, Wei Tianhao didn't immediately increase the bid. He sneered and walked out of the private room. His icy gaze fell on Qin Feng, who was in the last row. Qin Feng was here to stir up trouble tonight, so there was no need to hide his identity. At this moment, Qin Feng stood up and met Wei Tianhao's icy gaze with a smile. Don't say such useless words. I bid 200 million. If you don't have the money to increase the bid, then shut up. Don't delay this lord's auction. When Qin Feng's voice fell, the auction hall was filled with sighs. Wei Tianhao was someone with a high status in Hong Kong. Most of the people present were wealthy businessmen from Hong Kong. Which one of them hadn't been to Dafuyao Casino? No one expected that the person who kept raising the price in the private room was Wei Tianhao. If they had known earlier, the Hong Kong businessman who had been competing with Wei Tianhao would have given up. In Hong Kong, it was very troublesome to offend Wei Tianhao. Moreover, Qin Feng's voice was clearly that of a mainlander. Many of the rich businessmen present had a playful smile on their faces. A mainlander dared to challenge Wei Tianhao in Hong Kong. Everyone could already imagine Qin Feng's tragic fate. Ha ha ha. Good, very good. You fucking said I don't have money? I'll show you what it means to be rich. Wei Tianhao was successfully enraged by Qin Feng. If it wasn't for the strict rules of the auction house that forbade fighting, Wei Tianhao would have asked the ghost-stealing lord to hack Qin Feng in half. The Wei family that Wei Tianhao belonged to had a foothold in Jingdu. The conflict between the Wei family and Qin Feng was between Wei Tianhao's brother Tang, Wei Xiaolei, and Qin Feng. Wei Tianhao had only heard of Qin Feng's name. He didn't know what Qin Feng was looking for. Now that he looked at Qin Feng, Wei Tianhao didn't know that this was the person who killed his brother Tang. Otherwise, Wei Tianhao would have thanked Qin Feng properly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become the young master of the Wei family. 250 million. Wei Tianhao was really angry and directly raised the price by 50 million. Another wave of exclamations sounded in the public hall. Those who didn't know better would have thought it was a horror film. 300 million. Wei Tianhao's expression didn't change when he raised the price. Qin Feng's bid was as light as a cloud and breezy. Money was like dog shit in the eyes of these two people. The more they threw out, the better. 300 million for 4 pieces of ice-type jade was a record high. Wei Xiaolei's calm expression finally flashed with a hint of unease. This price was beyond his expectations. Jiao Jiao, who was standing on the stage, was overjoyed. She loved to see the local tycoons at the auction, because the auction house would take a 10% commission for every auction item. The higher the auction price, the happier the auction house would be. Brat, what do you mean? I advise you to stop now. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave Hong Kong even if you get the item. Wei Tianhao didn't continue to raise the price and started to threaten Qin Feng. Qin Feng didn't care at all. He laughed and said, I didn't mean anything. It's just that some people said they wanted to show me what it means to be rich. I'm really disappointed. Qin Feng's tone was full of mockery. He wanted to continue angering Wei Tianhao. As expected, Wei Tianhao was angry. Many people in the hall knew Wei Tianhao. If Wei Tianhao suddenly backed out of the auction, he would feel like he was slapping himself in the face. Master Honda gave Wei Tianhao the bidding limit of 300 million for the 4 pieces of ice-type jade. Now that Qin Feng directly raised the price to 300 million, Wei Tianhao couldn't make up his mind. Wei Tianhao glanced at Master Honda in the private room. Honda seemed to be dissatisfied with Qin Feng's arrogance. He extended his index finger towards Wei Tianhao. Qin Feng saw this scene through the talisman of clairvoyance. Wei Tianhao immediately understood and became arrogant again. He turned around and glared at Qin Feng, yelling, 400 million. Each of Honda's fingers represented 100 million. In a fit of anger, Wei Tianhao added 100 million all at once. This idiotic behavior made Qin Feng laugh inwardly. The corner of Honda's mouth twitched, and he was so angry that he almost kicked Wei Tianhao away. The hall was in an uproar again. As expected of the boss behind Dafu Gambling City, he raised the price by 100 million, just because he was angry. This was too stupid. You piece of trash. Raise the price again if you have the guts. You want to compete with me in terms of money? I can smash you to death with money. After Wei Tianhao raised the price, he started to clamor. Qin Feng looked at Wei Tianhao with a pitiful expression and said, Rich, you really are rich. 400 million to buy 4 pieces of ice-type jade. That's 100 million per piece. TSK. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to raise the price. Qin Feng's words caused a roar of laughter. He was secretly calling Wei Tianhao an idiot. Everyone thought Wei Tianhao was too arrogant, but none of them dared to say it. Now that Qin Feng said it, everyone agreed with him. Wei Tianhao successfully got 4 pieces of ice-type jade, but he wasn't happy at all. He even had the urge to kill someone. Brat, I'll remember you. Be careful after tonight's auction is over. Wei Tianhao glared at Qin Feng and threatened him in front of everyone. Qin Feng didn't seem to hear Wei Tianhao's words. He sat back with a smile. The first item was sold. Ghost Thief King carried 2 big bags to the backstage to handle the necessary procedures. Qin Feng used the talisman of clairvoyance to take a look and found that the bags were filled with US dollars. In the private room where Wei Tianhao and Honda were, there were dozens of bags filled with US dollars. Qin Feng was sure that these people were using the auction to launder money. Looking at the remaining 12 bags of US dollars, Qin Feng's eyes lit up. He suddenly had a brilliant plan. The second item was brought to the stage. It was a scroll. The scroll was placed on the long table on the stage. Two old men in gloves slowly spread the scroll. The second auction item is also very impressive. This is the work of Zhang Ziduan, a court painter during the reign of Emperor Huizong of the Song dynasty. I believe everyone is familiar with Zhang Ziduan. His masterpiece, Along the River during the Qingming Festival, is now in the Palace Museum in Jingdu. Experts have confirmed that this painting is authentic. The starting price is 50 million, and each bid must be at least 1 million. The bidding starts now. As soon as Jiao Jiao finished speaking, many people started to bid. These rich people loved to collect famous paintings and antiques. Although they didn't know how to appreciate them, and they didn't know the cultural history behind them, they still bought them to show off. 60 million. 80 million. 100 million. Wei Tianhao raised the price to 100 million. Hearing Wei Tianhao's voice, the bidders were all stunned. Didn't he just spend 400 million on 4 pieces of jade of the ice type? Is he going to fight for the golden Mingqi painting again? How rich is this guy? Even these Hong Kong businessmen, tycoons, and foreign CEOs were shocked by Wei Tianhao's wealth. This guy's family ran a bank, so money was just a string of numbers in his eyes. 200 million. Just when everyone was so shocked that they forgot to bid, a voice came from the last row of the public hall, raising the price to 200 million. People didn't need to turn their heads to know who made the bid, so they all shut their mouths. It seemed like they were not fated to get the second auction item again. Wei Tianhao's face was so cold that it almost froze. He finally realized that Qin Feng was purposely going against him. Honda had also given Wei Tianhao 300 million renminbi for the Jinminqi competition map. Wei Tianhao glared at Qin Feng and yelled, "I'll play with you until the end." 300 million. Qin Feng had the talisman of clairvoyance, so he could clearly see every eye contact between Wei Tianhao and Honda. Qin Feng already knew that Wei Tianhao's bottom line was 300 million, so he didn't bid anymore and went back to his seat leisurely. He'd cheated Wei Tianhao out of 200 million just by casually shouting. This kind of feeling was very satisfying. After winning the second auction item with 300 million, Wei Tianhao's mood became worse and worse. If Qin Feng wasn't here today, Wei Tianhao could have won these 2 items with 300 million, but now he had to spend 400 million more. Even if it was dirty money, he shouldn't be squandered like this. Chapter 736. The ghost thief had just finished the paperwork for the ice-type jade, and he went to the paperwork for the golden brightness pool competition map with 2 black bags. The auction was still going on. Jiao Jiao, the auctioneer on the stage, was grinning from ear to ear. She secretly winked at Qin Feng. She liked Qin Feng's hot temper. Tonight's auction was indeed a large-scale international auction, and the next few items were also very valuable treasures. Paintings by famous foreign artists, the second largest sapphire in the world, blue and white porcelain, and all kinds of antiques. It was obvious that Wei Tianhao and Honda came prepared. Tonight was no longer an auction, but a special place for them to buy more than half of the treasures. Qin Feng kept raising the price with Wei Tianhao. Wei Tianhao was so angry that he almost fought Qin Feng several times. Honda brought $1 billion, which was equivalent to more than 7 billion renminbi. According to Honda's plan, $1 billion was more than enough. However, Qin Feng came out of nowhere and completely messed up their plan. The auction was only halfway through, and Wei Tianhao's $1 billion were already gone. Without funds, Wei Tianhao stopped bidding and returned to his private room. Qin Feng used the talisman of clairvoyance to see Wei Tianhao and Honda talking at a table. After chatting for a while, Wei Tianhao made a phone call. After hanging up, he walked out of the private room and resumed his arrogant demeanor as he continued to raise the price. Qin Feng sat in the last row of the public hall, which was too far away from Wei Tianhao's private room. Moreover, Wei Tianhao and Honda were talking in low voices, so Qin Feng couldn't hear their conversation. However, judging from Wei Tianhao's behavior, Qin Feng guessed that Wei Tianhao had sent someone to get the money. Qin Feng was waiting for this moment. He took out his phone without hesitation and sent a message to Yin Wushuang. After sending the message, Qin Feng thought for a while and sent the same message to Li Ya. Qin Feng was relieved. The auction was in full swing. Wei Tianhao was still the most eye-catching existence. He had a hand in almost every item, and most of the treasures ended up in Wei Tianhao's hands. Time passed quickly, and the auction was coming to an end. Jiao Jiao took the box and placed it on the table. Before the box was opened, the emerald spirit ring on Qin Feng's finger suddenly reacted. Moreover, the reaction was unusually strong. It was even stronger than the Heaven and Earth Yuan stone on Ao Xiaowan's chest. Violet-grade spirit artifact, blood drinker blade. With a blade in hand, he stained the ground with fresh blood. Special skill. Bloodthirsty blade grows stronger upon contact with blood. Even better when used with the killer book. An unfamiliar piece of information appeared in Qin Feng's mind. Qin Feng knew that this was the item in the exquisite box on the stage. He never would have thought that it would actually be a purple-grade spiritual weapon. Qin Feng immediately became spirited. Up until now, he still didn't have a purple-grade spirit weapon. Qin Feng's previous bids were all because he was intentionally raising the price for Wei Tianhao to trick him. However, this time, Qin Feng had to get this purple-grade bloodthirsty dagger. Ladies and gentlemen, the item in this box is a dagger of unknown origin. The dagger is made of ancient bronze, and its design is exquisite. It is a rare collectible. Jiao Jiao introduced the bloodthirsty dagger on the stage with a charming smile. There seemed to be something wrong with this purple-grade spiritual weapon. Qin Feng didn't feel any fluctuation of spiritual energy from the dagger. The orange-grade spiritual weapons that Qin Feng wore all had faint fluctuations of spiritual energy. And the fluctuation of spiritual energy from a blue-grade spiritual weapon was even stronger. This was a purple-grade spiritual weapon, so why didn't it have any reaction? This bronze dagger of unknown origin. The starting price is 10 million, and each increment must be no less than 500,000. Jiao Jiao announced the price. Compared to the previous items, the price of this dagger was not high. Even though it was 10 million, the audience was still discussing it. 10 million for a broken bronze dagger? That's ridiculous. I still have a bronze cauldron unearthed during the Shang and Zhou dynasty in my house. I used it to cook hot pot, but it tastes a little weird. I only spent 10 million to buy that bronze cauldron. Who would want this broken dagger if I bid 10 million? Hurry up and change to the next item. This thing is not attractive at all. The rich merchants in the public hall were not interested in the bronze dagger. And the people in the private rooms on the right were even less interested. Jiao Jiao was a little embarrassed when she saw everyone's reaction. Even she didn't know when this bronze dagger was unearthed. She didn't even know if it was real or fake. Today, someone suddenly put it on the auction house and asked to be auctioned. Jiao Jiao saw that Qin Feng kept bickering with Wei Tianhao tonight, so she put this broken thing up for auction. She wanted to trick Wei Tianhao again. In the end, Wei Tianhao was too lazy to even look at the bronze dagger. 10,500,000. Just when everyone was shouting to change to the next item, a voice suddenly rang out. The noise stopped abruptly, and everyone looked towards Qin Feng in the last row. Who was the most eye-catching person in the auction tonight? The first was Qin Feng, and the second was the idiot Wei Tianhao. What is this person doing? He's actually interested in this broken bronze dagger? Spending 10 million for this trash? Are you stupid? He clearly isn't buying it. He's been bickering with young Master Wei all night. He wants to trick young Master Wei again. This time, young Master Wei didn't make a bid. I reckon that brat can't trick young Master Wei. This time he's tricked himself. Haha. Everyone started talking about Qin Feng again. Qin Feng acted as if he couldn't hear everyone's discussion. His burning gaze fell on the bronze dagger. Since the emerald spirit ring identified this dagger as the purple-grade bloodthirsty dagger, Qin Feng believed it couldn't be fake. As for why this bloodthirsty dagger didn't have any spiritual qi waves, Qin Feng decided to get it first before studying it. Seeing that no one was interested in the bloodthirsty dagger, Qin Feng was overjoyed. These people spent tens or even hundreds of millions to buy a painting or a set of Tang Sankai. But they treated the real good stuff like trash. Even 10 million was too much for them. While everyone was still discussing, Wei Tianhao looked at Qin Feng and suddenly laughed loudly. Haha, you idiot. Do you think I'll buy any trash? You still want to trick me this time? Ha ha ha. I'm not interested in this piece of scrap metal. If you like it, then buy it for 10 million. Wei Tianhao looked pleased as if he had seen through Qin Feng's thoughts. He laughed so hard that his intestines were about to fall out. Qin Feng tricked Wei Tianhao for an entire night. Wei Tianhao was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. This time, he felt that he finally tricked Qin Feng. Although it was only 10 million, Wei Tianhao was so happy that he almost floated in the air. Qin Feng glanced at Wei Tianhao indifferently and ignored this idiot. Everyone else thought that Qin Feng was tricked this time, and there were many people gloating over his misfortune. Not a single person bid against Qin Feng. Even Jiao Jiao, who was on the stage, couldn't wait to hammer the final price. Jiao Jiao was overjoyed that this broken bronze dagger could sell for 10,500,000. Haha, congratulations to our Mr. Number 103. This Mr. has been bidding for an entire night, but he didn't get the treasure he wanted. This time, Mr. Number 103 has a discerning eye and has taken a liking to this valuable bronze dagger. I'm happy for him. Mr. Number 103, please come on stage and take your auction item to the backstage to complete the relevant procedures. Jiao Jiao said a bunch of words that made the audience burst into laughter. Spending 10 million on a piece of scrap metal is called having a discerning eye? Everyone suspected that Jiao Jiao was purposely teasing Qin Feng. Qin Feng didn't care about the crowd's discussion and ridicule. He ran up the stage excitedly. Qin Feng took the purple-grade bloodthirsty dagger and walked backstage. On the way, Qin Feng injected a strand of inner qi into the bloodthirsty dagger. However, the bloodthirsty dagger didn't have the slightest reaction. Even white-grade spiritual energy would form a spiritual connection with the spiritual weapon wielder after being injected with inner qi. Why didn't this purple-grade bloodthirsty dagger work? Qin Feng started to wonder if this was really a piece of scrap metal. Little Pig's voice rang in Qin Feng's mind. Master, someone has added a formation to the bloodthirsty blade, so I can't sense any spiritual qi fluctuations or inject inner qi into it. For the time being, it's no different from a piece of scrap metal. Qin Feng's mouth twitched. It really was a piece of scrap metal? With my current formation ability, can I break the formation seal on the bloodthirsty dagger? Qin Feng asked. Master, the formation on this dagger isn't profound. You can break the seal now, but you need the help of spirit stones to break it. I suggest Master find a place without people to break it. Qin Feng was relieved after listening to Little Pig's explanation. If the martial artists of China found out that he had bought a purple-grade spiritual weapon with 10 million, they would definitely be envious to death. Qin Feng took the bloodthirsty dagger to the service counter and paid the fee according to the attendant's steps. The bloodthirsty dagger didn't have any spiritual energy fluctuations, so Qin Feng couldn't put it into the hedonist sovereign system. So he put the bloodthirsty dagger on his body. By the time he returned to the auction hall, the auction had already ended. All the items were sold, and 2/3 of the items were bought by Wei Tianhao. Everyone had started to disperse, and those who needed to pay the fee went backstage to complete the procedures. Wei Tianhao and Honda were still sitting in the private room. The ghost-stealing lord had also returned, and the three of them were whispering to each other. Master Honda, that stinking brat who keeps bidding against us is too despicable. Should we ask the ghost-stealing lord to kill him? Wei Tianhao asked Honda in a low voice with a cold expression. Honda had been unhappy with Qin Feng for a long time. Because of Qin Feng's appearance, he had lost 1 billion USD. That was a lot of money. Ghost-stealing lord, follow that brat. Leave the follow-up procedures to Wei Tianhao. Honda ordered the ghost-stealing lord. Don't worry, Master Honda. I'll cut this sick man into pieces and feed him to the dogs. Chapter 737. Qin Feng had already left the auction venue and was leisurely strolling on the bustling streets of Hong Kong. Hong Kong was a city that never sleeps. The exciting nightlife only began at night. Qin Feng felt someone following him the moment he walked out of the Golden Glory Club. Qin Feng pretended not to know anything and slowly left the noisy street. He arrived at a desolate and uninhabited small park. Whoosh! The wind howled in the park, but Qin Feng could hear the sound of someone breaking through the wind. Ghost Stealer Jun was a shinobi from Japan, which was equivalent to 80% of the experts in China. Coupled with his superb invisibility skills, killing someone was as easy as killing an ant. Ghost Stealer Jun never hesitated when killing people. After making sure there was no one around, he lightly leaped and attacked the back of Qin Feng's neck. Whoosh! A violent sound of breaking wind resounded. A dagger appeared in Ghost Stealer Jun's hand. He slashed down with the dagger and brought up a white shadow. However, this slash missed. Baka! Ghost Stealer Jun's expression greatly changed as he cursed. This slash actually missed? This was completely out of Ghost Stealer Jun's expectation. Qin Feng didn't know when he had jumped under a tree 5 meters away. Ghost Stealer Jun's reaction was also extremely fast. After a brief moment of distraction, he had already launched his second attack. Ghost Stealer Jun swung his hand, and a swastika-shaped shuriken flew out. Clang! Qin Feng lightly raised his hand, and the Sky Splitter axe appeared in his hand. The swastika-shaped shuriken was directly cut in half by Qin Feng's battle axe, and fell under Qin Feng's feet. Who are you? Ghost Stealer Jun's pupils constricted. He had already realized that he had encountered an ancient martial arts expert from China. Qin Feng's face carried a bright smile as his appearance visibly changed. As a shinobi from Japan, Ghost Stealer Jun had trained in night vision since he was young. In the pitch-black park, he clearly saw that Qin Feng's appearance had changed into another person, causing Ghost Stealer Jun to cry out in fear. It's you, Xiao Feng? I remember you were yelling yesterday that you wanted to kill me with one slash. Now that the opportunity has come, you better grasp it well. Don't get killed by me. Qin Feng and the ghost-stealing lord stared at each other in the dark. Both of their eyes emitted a cold murderous intent. The ghost-stealing Kuan was an earth ninja from Japan. Since he was a child, he had been trained to fight in various environments. Fighting in the woods at night was the ghost-stealing Kuan's forte. The corner of the ghost-stealing Kuan's mouth curved into an evil smile. It was as if he could already see the scene of Qin Feng falling under his Wuxia Dao. Humph. It seems like you already know that your identity has been exposed. Wait till I kill you, the sick man of China. Then I'll go back and catch the traitor. The shinobi of the island were all geniuses that were picked out from thousands of miles away. The ghost-stealing monarch's thoughts were very fast, and he was able to see through many things. Do you know why I exposed my identity to you? Because you can't go back. Qin Feng said coldly. The ghost-stealing lord clenched his teeth, roared, and pounced towards Qin Feng. Baka! You're dead, you're dead. Rumble! A loud sound rang out in midair, just like the roar of thunder. The ghost-stealing Kuan jumped on top of Qin Feng's head. He swung his hand, and Wuxia Dao fell from his back. The blade was like an arrow, flashing and disappearing. Qin Feng raised his eyebrows, and quickly dodged to the side. In the next moment, the tree behind him had already been cut in half. Oof! You have some skills, but you still have to die. The ghost-stealing Kuan narrowed his eyes, and began to pay attention to Qin Feng. Last time, Qin Feng didn't dodge his blade at Dafu Gambling City, but this time he easily dodged it. It was obvious that he had hidden his true strength. Although the shinobi of the island nation were arrogant and complacent, they were still very cautious in front of a strong enemy. Rumble! Qin Feng's axe chopped down, and a dragon condensed from inner chi whistled through the air. The dragon's roar was deafening, and it forced the ghost-stealing Kuan to retreat. The shock in his eyes became more and more intense. Qin Feng chased after the ghost thief Jun, and the heaven-splitting axe in his hand continued to fall. The ghost thief Jun desperately waved the Wuxia Dao to block, but his body was still cut by the fierce axe chi. His night clothes had long been tattered, and blood had dyed both his trousers. Bastard, get out of here! The ghost-stealing Kuan hadn't been in such a difficult situation in a long time. He was so angry that his eyeballs were about to pop out. He roared, and his right hand grabbed Wuxia Dao and waved it around. His left hand continuously shot out dozens of flashing white light. Chi-shaped darts shot towards Qin Feng at the speed of bullets. Xiao xiao xiao. Qin Feng quickly put away the sky-splitting Kuan axe, and continuously shot out his palms. His speed was also very fast, and his palms created afterimages. The air suddenly resounded with the sound of the wind. The wind blades turned into white lights that flickered, like fireflies, illuminating the surroundings. Bastard, how is this possible? You can condense chi to kill people? The ghost-stealing Kuan's complexion changed. He looked at the dense rain of wind blades, and felt as if the god of death had arrived. The dozens of chi-shaped darts that the ghost-stealing Kuan threw out had already been shot down by the wind blades. The remaining wind blades all smashed into the ghost-stealing Kuan's body, but they didn't cause any serious injuries. They only scratched his skin. So it was a feint. You Chinese people are really treacherous and cunning. I'm going to chop your flesh and feed it to the dogs. Very quickly, the ghost-stealing Kuan discovered that although the wind blades that Qin Feng threw out looked scary, they didn't cause any substantial damage. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth curved into a cruel smile. The Japanese devils were completely devoid of conscience and history. They burned, killed, and pillaged China. This kind of animal had the nerve to say that the Chinese people were treacherous and cunning? Qin Feng's rapidly dancing hands had already stopped. His hands were behind his back, and he didn't have any spirit weapons in his hands. The ghost-stealing Kuan carried Wu Shidao and rushed forward with a sinister expression. Wu Shidao was dragged on the ground, and the ghost-stealing lord ran at top speed, leaving behind sparks on the ground. When he was only 5 meters away from Qin Feng, the ghost-stealing lord let out an explosive roar and suddenly disappeared, reappearing above Qin Feng's head in an instant. Wu Shidao drew a half-moon in the air, and the cold blade qi was threatening. Qin Feng stood motionlessly with his hands behind his back. Wu Shidao descended from the sky. The strong gust of wind blew Qin Feng's long hair into a mess. The blade was about to land on Qin Feng's scalp. Rumble! Qin Feng suddenly raised his hand and struck out with his palm. A ball of intense fireball flew out from his palm. The destructive fire was unstoppable, and in the blink of an eye, it ignited the ghost-stealing monarch's entire body. The fire reached 3 meters high, and the Wu Shidao in the ghost-stealing monarch's hand had already melted, turning into ashes that were scattered by the wind. Ghost-stealing monarch's heart-wrenching scream came from within the flames. At the moment of his death, he still could not figure out where this flame came from. The ghost-stealing lord felt that if he was given 0.1 seconds or even less, he would be able to cut Qin Feng in half with one slash. But this blade would never fall. His Wu Shidao had already turned into ashes. Rumble! After the ghost-stealing lord's scream disappeared, Qin Feng waved his hand, and the destructive flame disappeared. The park returned to its original tranquility and gloominess, as if nothing had happened. The ghost-stealing king was burned to a pile of ashes, and when the wind blew, the ashes were all gone. At the same time, in a port area of Hong Kong's Shawankou, Leah grabbed a pistol and squatted behind the door of an abandoned factory. After Leah received Qin Feng's message, she immediately rushed to the big billionaire casino alone. Qin Feng suspected that Wei Tianhao would send someone to take the money from the black gold vault. So he sent a message to Li Ye and Yin Wushuang, telling them to wait at the entrance of the big billionaire casino. He didn't expect that Li Ye would really succeed, and she followed the 8 great guardian warriors of the big billionaire casino to this area. The 8 great guardian warriors had already entered the abandoned factory, but Li Ye didn't follow them in. The 8 great guardian warriors were all stage 6 inner chi experts, and Li Ye was only an ordinary person. She was afraid that if she followed them into the factory, her identity would be exposed. At that time, before she could find the location of the black money, she would lose her life here. Little beauty, who are you waiting for here? He couldn't be peeing, right? That's great. Quickly lift up your sexy butt, and let Big Brother see it. Big Brother will help you wipe your butt. Just as Leah was nervous and on edge, a burst of evil laughter suddenly came from behind her. Leah's hand that was holding the gun broke out in a layer of cold sweat, and she hurriedly turned around in fright. Don't move, I am a senior inspector of Hong Kong. I suspect that you are related to a money laundering case. All of you, raise your hands above your heads and obediently squat on the ground. Leah turned around and saw 4 of the 8 great guardian warriors standing there. When the 4 of them saw the gun in Leah's hand, their expressions changed. Haha. So it's a senior inspector from Hong Kong. We were just joking just now. Sir, don't take it seriously. One of them laughed at Leah. Leah's face was cold, and her body was trembling slightly. These were 4 stage 6 inner chi experts. It would be a lie if Leah wasn't nervous. Stop smiling mischievously. Hurry up and put your hands on your head and squat on the ground. Leah pretended to be calm, but her voice was abnormally stern. A cold, killing intent flashed across the eyes of the 4 of them. Just as one of them was about to make a move, the other hurriedly said, "Sir, you must have misunderstood us. We are just here to take a walk and enjoy the sea breeze. We are not bad people. We will squat down now. Sir, you must not shoot, be careful of misfire." The man who spoke gave the other 3 a look, and the 4 of them obediently squatted down. Leah heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. Before she could even breathe properly, a gust of wind suddenly blew from behind her. Leah felt a sharp pain at the back of her neck, and in the next second, she fainted. Fuck, how did we get targeted by the Hong Kong police? The man who knocked Leah unconscious had a serious expression as he looked at the 4 King Kong, who were squatting on the ground, and asked. The 4 of them stood up and walked over to the other 4 King Kongs. The 8 King Kong's expressions turned cold. They had come to help young Master Wei withdraw money, but they were targeted by the Hong Kong police. They did not know if there were other police officers lying in ambush nearby. Chapter 738. After the 2 left, the remaining 6 warriors looked at Leah, who had fallen to the ground. The expressions of the 6 of them changed. A wretched light flashed past their eyes as they sized up Leah's perfect body. Big brother, this girl is so pretty and hot. She's also a fucking police officer. I'm on fire. Big brother, we haven't played with a female police officer before. Do you want to test her? 5 of the 6 people looked at Big brother lecherously. Big brother was also a little tempted, but now that the Black Vault had been discovered by the Hong Kong police, Big brother was still a little worried. Let's wait for 7th and 8th bro to come back first. Don't delay the business. Big brother raised his eyebrows and said. The other 5 people were already burning with passion. They didn't have the mood to wait any longer. Big brother, what are you afraid of? Even if the Hong Kong police found out, they will still be captured by us like this girl. When the time comes, we will interrogate them and find out who is hiding in our rich family. If young Master Wei finds out about this, he will reward us. That's right, big brother. We are all stage 6 inner chi experts. How many people in Hong Kong can beat us? Nothing will happen. Beautiful policewoman, big brother. The 5 people persuaded big brother back and forth. Big brother also began to be tempted. Okay, then one by one. You guys watch first, I'll go first. Big brother said as he bent down to hug Leah. The 5 subordinates were speechless, but they could only watch big brother go first. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Before big brother's hand could touch Leah's body, the sound of wind breaking suddenly came from the air. Not good, it's an ambush. The expressions of the 6 warriors changed drastically. Big brother roared, and everyone quickly scattered in all directions. Poochie! Half of the throwing knives fell to the ground. The blades sank into the soil, and the exposed red cloth strips fluttered in the wind. The other half of the throwing knives cut through the skin of the 6 warriors. Some directly pierced their thighs, arms, and even hearts. All the throwing knives fell. A beautiful figure floated over. Yan Wushuang wore a tight black leather jacket and a pair of black boots. Her beautiful face was as cold as frost, and her fine black hair fluttered in the wind. She looked extremely cool. Who are you? One of the 6 great guardian deities had his heart pierced by a flying dagger and died. The other 5 people looked at Yan Wushuang with fear in their eyes. Big brother, there's no one around. What happened here? Old 7 and Old 8, who had gone out to investigate, had already rushed back. As soon as they returned, they were shocked by the scene in front of them. Yan Wushuang acted as if she didn't hear his question. She raised her jade-like hand, pulled out a thin leather belt from her waist, and leaped away. Pa pa pa. As the belt swung, The sound of wind breaking could be heard in the air, as if someone was setting off firecrackers. Yan Wushuang was a stage 7 inner qi expert, so these stage 6 inner qi cultivators were nothing in her eyes. Whip shadows appeared and overlapped. The 7 great guardian deities felt like they were about to suffocate. Old 7 and Old 8's movements slowed down. Unable to dodge in time, the two of them were struck by the whip shadow. Their sternum was instantly broken, and their chests caved in. In less than 5 minutes after Yan Wushuang arrived, 3 of the 8 great guardian deities had already lost their lives. The other 5 looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with anger and panic. It's impossible to run away. Let's attack together and fight this bitch to the death. We might be able to survive this. Big Brother roared angrily and pounced at Yan Wushuang with his fists. The other 4 did not hesitate and pounced at Yan Wushuang from different directions. Yan Wushuang leaped up into the air. She was wearing a tight black outfit that showed off her voluptuous figure to the fullest. Her long hair fluttered in the wind, and a cold light flashed in her beautiful eyes. She lashed out with the leather belt in her hand like a domineering queen. Anyone who saw her could not help but want to conquer her. The 5 great guardian deities were not in the mood to conquer Yan Wushuang. They were about to lose their lives. As Yan Wushuang swung her belt, the powerful aura in the air became more intense. The 5 great guardian deities hurriedly struck their palms in the air, using the wind generated by their palms to counteract the strength of the whip shadows. Bang! 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 The attacks from both sides collided in the air, producing a series of violent explosions. The sound was like thunder, causing the ground to tremble. Yan Wushuang paused in the air for a moment. Then she landed on the ground. The 5 great guardian deities immediately seized the opportunity and punched at her together. Bitch, how dare you offend the 8 great guardian deities? I'll kill you. Bang! The first 2 great guardian deities roared angrily. Yan Wushuang had just landed on the ground when she leaped into the air again. She was fast and agile. Yan Wushuang's slender and perfect body did a backflip in the air and kicked the 2 great guardian deities behind her away. Bang! The moment her feet landed on the bodies of the 2 great guardian deities, 2 loud noises were heard. Yan Wushuang leaped into the air again with the help of the counterforce. After a beautiful backflip, she arrived above the heads of the other 2 great guardian deities in an instant. She landed her feet on their shoulders. The 2 great guardian deities felt as if a mountain was pressing down on them. Their legs went soft and they fell to the ground. Clang! The big brother, who was the only one left, stabbed at Yan Wushuang's back with a long sword in his hand. Yan Wushuang felt the cold air of death coming from her back. She was about to leap and dodge when a gunshot was heard in the air. Bang! The big brother, who was behind Yan Wushuang, fell to the ground as well. His knee was pierced by a bullet, and his blood spilled all over the ground. In less than 10 minutes, the 8 great guardian deities were completely defeated by Yan Wushuang. 3 of them were killed while the other 5 were severely injured and could not get up from the ground. Slap! 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 Yan Wushuang leaped into the air again and whipped the 5 great guardian deities with a leather belt. The leather belt fell on the 5 great guardian deities and knocked them out instantly. Thud! Yan Wushuang landed lightly on the ground. Her high-heeled boots made a crisp sound when she stepped on the ground. Yan Wushuang looked at Liya, who was sitting on the ground, and asked coldly, "Who are you?" Liya was knocked out by the 8 great guardian deities, but she was woken up by the sound of the fight between Yan Wushuang and the 8 great guardian deities. Liya had witnessed the fight between Yan Wushuang and the 8 great guardian deities. She was stunned by Yan Wushuang's strong and experienced skills. Who are you?" Liya quickly regained her senses and aimed the gun at Yan Wushuang nervously. This woman was more dangerous than the 8 great guardian deities. Yan Wushuang clasped her hands behind her back and looked calm, as if she did not see the gun in Liya's hand. Yan Wushuang tied the belt back to her slender waist and said, "Your voice sounds familiar." Liya was so nervous that she did not pay attention to Yan Wushuang's voice. Now that Yan Wushuang took the initiative to talk to her, Liya felt that something was wrong. "Ah, you are Qiaofeng's partner? You are from China's dragon sect?" Liya exclaimed. She remembered Yan Wushuang's voice. Yan Wushuang also remembered Li Ye's voice. She was the woman who told Qin Feng that his identity in the dragon sect had been exposed. Li Ye heaved a sigh of relief when she found out that the woman in front of her was Qiao Feng's partner. She quickly put the gun away and ran to Yan Wushuang. "I'm Li Ye, a senior inspector from Hong Kong." Li Ye extended her hand. Yan Wushuang looked at Li Ye coldly and shook her hand. "China's dragon sect, Yan Wushuang. Sister Wushuang, you rushed here after receiving Qiao Feng's message, right? Is Qiao Feng here?" Li Ye addressed Yan Wushuang as Sister Wushuang affectionately. Yan Wushuang was a little embarrassed. But on the surface, Yan Wushuang still acted like a cold queen. She said indifferently, "Qiao Feng is not here. Are you the only one from the Hong Kong police?" "Only me. We suspect that there is a mole from the Wei family in the police station. I came here in secret because I don't want to alert the enemy," Li Ye explained. Yan Wushuang did not expect there to be a mole in the Hong Kong police station. It seemed that informants and mole were unavoidable everywhere. After knowing each other's identity, Li Ye and Yan Wushuang became a little embarrassed. The last time they talked on the phone, both of them obviously misunderstood each other's identity. They quarreled over the phone, and even fought to say that they were Qin Feng's women. It was a little embarrassing. "Sister Wushuang, they won't wake up suddenly, right?" Li Ye quickly regained her composure. She purposely did not mention that embarrassing incident. Yan Wushuang heaved a sigh of relief. She was even more embarrassed and shy about that kind of thing. If Li Ye did not mention it, Yan Wushuang would not talk about it. "These people won't wake up for a while. Send a message to Qiao Feng and ask him to come here," Yan Wushuang said to Li Ye. Li Ye immediately sent a message to Qin Feng, while Yan Wushuang tied the 8 great vajras together in the abandoned factory. After doing that, the two of them waited for Qin Feng in the factory. Yan Wushuang was cold and introverted while Li Ye was lively and cheerful. The two of them were a perfect match. Li Ye had endless topics to talk about, chirping like a little bird. Yan Wushuang leaned against the wall coolly and didn't say a word. No one knew if she was listening or not. Li Ye did not care and continued to talk happily. "Group leader Yan Xiaoya?" After waiting for a while, Qin Feng's voice came from outside the factory. Yan Wushuang's figure flashed and disappeared before Li Ye's eyes. Li Ye was shocked. "Group leader Yan, what's the situation?" Just as Qin Feng walked to the factory's entrance, Yan Wushuang jumped out and almost fell into Qin Feng's arms. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Yan Wushuang's arrogant body. He had to admit that Yan Wushuang's tight-fitting black leather jacket and pants were very eye-catching and sexy. It undoubtedly displayed Yan Wushuang's cold personality. Her perfect curves were also vividly outlined. "I've already knocked out the 8 great generals. The Black Treasury is probably in this factory. Xiaoya and I haven't checked it yet. We've been waiting for you." Yan Wushuang felt a little shy when she saw Qin Feng's burning gaze. However, Yan Wushuang's expression did not change. It was as if she did not see anything. Chapter 739. Let's go in and see what's going on. Wei Tianhao and the people from Yamaguchi-gumi are waiting for the 8 guardian deities to return with the money. They will definitely be suspicious if they don't see them later. After Qin Feng understood the situation, he did not waste any more time and led the 2 girls into the factory. The factory had obviously been abandoned for a long time. There was no light inside, and some broken tables and chairs were scattered in the corner. They were covered with dust, and the corners were covered with cobwebs. It looked a little creepy. Yan Wushuang and Li Ye had already turned on the flashlight function of their phones. Qin Feng directly bought a talisman of clairvoyance from the system. After silently chanting an incantation, the talisman of clairvoyance took effect. The situation in the factory entered Qin Feng's eyes clearly. Soon Qin Feng found a secret passage. "Follow me." Qin Feng quickened his pace, and Yan Wushuang followed him. After all, Li Ye was just an ordinary police officer. She was a little scared walking in this gloomy and cold factory. Naturally, she slowed down and was soon left behind by Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang. "Qiao Feng, wait for me. I'm a little scared." Seeing Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang getting further and further away, Leah became more and more nervous. Qin Feng looked back and saw that Leah was already more than 10 meters behind. He shook his head helplessly and retracted his hand to grab Leah's delicate hand. Hold on tight. Don't lose you. Holding Qin Feng's big and warm hand, Leah's anxious heart instantly calmed down. She could not even describe that wonderful feeling. Yan Wushuang's pretty face was covered with a layer of frost under the cold moonlight. She glanced at Qin Feng and Leah's tightly held hands and felt an inexplicable anger in her heart. With the talisman of clairvoyance, Qin Feng's journey was smooth. Halfway through, he realized that Yan Wushuang was slowly left behind. He had to stop and wait for Yan Wushuang. Yan Wushuang purposely slowed down. When she saw Qin Feng and Leah holding hands, she felt an inexplicable anger. She thought that she might as well let the two of them investigate. Team leader Yan, hurry up. Qin Feng shouted at Yan Wushuang. When Yan Wushuang heard Qin Feng's complaint, she was enraged and said, "What are you shouting for? I'm not going. You guys can go alone." Qin Feng was baffled by Yan Wushuang's scolding. However, Yan Wushuang's temper was unpredictable. She was as unpredictable as Lu Bingbing. Qin Feng shook his head helplessly. He pulled Leah and ran to Yan Wushuang's side. Team leader Yan, what's wrong? Let's hurry up and find the treasury. We're not far from that secret passage. Qin Feng's tone softened. As he spoke, his other hand suddenly grabbed Yan Wushuang's lily-white hand. Yan Wushuang's delicate body trembled, as if she was electrocuted. Fortunately, it was too dark in the factory, so Qin Feng and Leah did not notice Yan Wushuang's abnormality. Sister Wushuang, are you tired? Let's rest for a while. Sister Wushuang just fought with the 8 guardian deities. She must be tired. Leah's voice had a Hong Kong accent. She called Yan Wushuang Sister Wushuang, which made Yan Wushuang feel a little ashamed. Yan Wushuang felt the warmth of Qin Feng's palm. Qin Feng's grip on her lily-white hand was very tight. This made Yan Wushuang's jealousy disappear instantly. She wondered if she was acting like a little princess. She was not like this in the past. I'm fine. Let's continue. Yan Wushuang lowered her head and looked at Qin Feng and Leah shyly. Qin Feng did not think too much about it. Time was of the essence. They had to find the treasury before Wei Tianhao, and the people from Yamaguchi-gumi found out something was wrong. Qin Feng used his X-ray vision and continued to walk towards the secret passage. When he stood at the entrance of the passage and looked down, he was stunned by what he saw. Under the ground where Qin Feng was standing, there was a 30-square-meter treasury. It was filled with US dollars, gold bars, and expensive jewelry. Xiao Feng, why did you stop? Leah asked curiously. Yan Wushuang was also puzzled. To cover up the fact that he had the talisman of clairvoyance, Qin Feng made up an excuse and said, "Didn't you guys feel something was wrong?" "What's wrong?" Yan Wushuang and Leah became nervous. It was very creepy to be in such a gloomy place with the whistling sea breeze. There's something wrong with the ground under our feet. The sound we make when we step on it is not right. Qin Feng guided the two ladies' thoughts. As a stage 7 inner chi martial artist, Yan Wushuang's senses were much stronger than Leah's. She stepped on the ground and quickly realized that something was wrong. It's hollow under me. Yan Wushuang's beautiful eyes sparkled. She suddenly understood. Leah heard Yan Wushuang's words and cried out in surprise. Huh? Sister Wushuang, it's hollow under you? It's winter and you don't even wear underwear? You'll catch a cold. Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang were shocked by Leah's words. After a while, Qin Feng couldn't help but burst into laughter. Yan Wushuang clenched her teeth and rolled her eyes at Leah. What? I said it's hollow under my feet. Leah's beautiful eyes rolled a few times before she finally realized what Yan Wushuang meant. She then cried out in surprise. What? The ground under our feet is hollow? Let's go back and don't fall into a trap. Qin Feng's mouth twitched. Why didn't he realize that Leah had such a funny side to her? Qin Feng cleared his throat and said, I suspect that the space under our feet is the location of the black gold vault. You guys go back a little. I'll smash a hole in this vault. Leah quickly pulled Yan Wushuang to the side. Actually, Qin Feng had already found the secret passage to the Black Gold Vault, using the Talisman of Clairvoyance. However, the secret passage was too well hidden. Qin Feng was afraid that if he found the secret passage, Yan Wushuang and Liya would be suspicious. Seeing the two ladies retreating, Qin Feng leaped into the air. Suddenly, a domineering battle axe appeared in his hand. He swung the sky splitter with all his might, and the whole factory shook. With a rumble, a large hole appeared on the ground. Qin Feng jumped into the hole. Team leader Yan Xiaoya, come down. When Qin Feng was standing on the ground, he used the Talisman of Clairvoyance to observe the situation below. Therefore, Qin Feng was not surprised. On the other hand, Liya and Yan Wushuang were stunned by the mountain of US dollars and gold bars when they jumped into the vault. Wow! There's so much money in here. It seems like the amount of money laundered by the Wei family in Yamaguchi-gumi is more than 10 times more than what we've received. Qin Feng nodded and said to the two ladies, if I'm not mistaken, this Black Gold Vault is only one of the vaults where they hide their money. I'm guessing there are other vaults. Liya thought there was enough money in this place. When she heard there were other vaults, Liya cried out in surprise again. Yan Wushuang was much calmer than before. She nodded in agreement with Qin Feng. There's too much money here. How are we going to transport it away? Liya began to worry. Yan Wushuang also fell silent. She was thinking of a solution. Actually, Qin Feng had quite a few ideas. The Emerald Spirit Ring that he had just obtained not only had the ability to search for treasures, but it also had the ability to hold a storage space the size of Hepping Town. Qin Feng could just throw the money in this small treasury into the Emerald Spirit Ring, but it would be difficult to explain to the two women. I drove here. Put all the money in my car and take it away. Qin Feng ran out of the factory and arrived at the factory in the off-road vehicle he borrowed from Huang Jinghua. The headlights of the car illuminated the dark factory. Qin Feng jumped into the underground vault and asked the two ladies to put the money on the ground. The underground vault was filled with US dollars. However, Qin Feng threw the money away very quickly. Since Qin Feng had discovered this vault, he naturally wouldn't return empty-handed. Since no one knew how much money there was in this vault, Qin Feng directly put half of the US dollars and gold bars in the vault into the Emerald Spirit Ring. Alright, I've emptied everything down there. After 10 minutes, Qin Feng jumped out of the underground vault. The two ladies were drenched in sweat. They had filled the trunk and the back seat of the off-road vehicle. That's it. Why do I feel like there's so much less? Liya glanced at the money in the car. It seemed like there was less than what she saw in the vault. Yan Wushuang also felt that there was less money. The two ladies looked at Qin Feng, because they were sure that they did not hide any money. Qin Feng felt guilty being stared at by the two ladies, but he pretended to be serious and said, why are you looking at me? Do you think I'm good at hiding money? What kind of person do you think I am? Moreover, I only have 4 pockets. How much money can I hide? The underground vault is empty. Where can I hide the money? Yan Wushuang and Liya went to check the underground vault. It was really emptied. There was not a single US dollar or gold bar left. The two ladies believed that Qin Feng did not hide any money because there was nowhere to hide it. However, the money in the car seemed to be much less than before. The two ladies couldn't understand why. Alright, don't be so suspicious. Wei Tianhao and the others must have found out something was wrong. Let's retreat quickly. Qin Feng was afraid that the two ladies would ask more questions, so he pushed them into the car. Team leader Yan, please drive the car to the bottom of the mountain and wait for me. I'll take care of things here, Qin Feng said to Yan Wushuang. Yan Wushuang looked at Qin Feng worriedly, but she didn't say anything. She gritted her teeth and drove the off-road vehicle away with Liya. After making sure that the two ladies were gone, Qin Feng threw the 8 warriors at the entrance of the factory into the underground vault. What are you doing? Who are you? I'm warning you, let us go. We are young Master Wei's men. 3 of the 8 warriors were killed by Yan Wushuang. The remaining 5 fell into the underground vault and woke up. The 5 of them looked at Qin Feng, but they didn't know him. Qin Feng ignored them. He raised his hand, and a fireball fell into the underground vault, burning the 8 warriors into ashes. Chapter 740. Magnificent Golden Club. It had been an hour since the auction ended, and everyone had left. Only Jiao Jiao, Wei Tianhao, and Master Honda were left in the spacious hall. The people from the auction house were waiting for Wei Tianhao's men to send the money to settle the auction items. They were getting impatient, but they dared not show it on their faces. Haha, young Master Wei, look, the money hasn't arrived yet? Jiao Jiao looked at Wei Tianhao with a charming smile, but she was cursing him in her heart. Why did you act cool at the auction just now when you don't have the money? You're wasting my time on dating other men. Wei Tianhao couldn't take it anymore. A cold light flashed through Honda's deep eyes as he said to Wei Tianhao with a sullen face, "Call those 8 pieces of trash of yours, and ask them what's going on." Master Honda was getting impatient. Wei Tianhao was getting nervous. He quickly ran to the side and made the call. After a while, Wei Tianhao came back with a bitter face. "Master Honda, the phone is off." This was the 3rd call Wei Tianhao made. The first 2 calls went through, but no one picked up. This time the phone was off. Honda had a bad premonition. His voice was so cold that it was about to freeze. Try calling Stealing Ghost Lord. Wei Tianhao had been thinking about the 8 guardian deities, so he had completely forgotten about the Ghost Stealing Lord's assassination attempt. Now that Honda mentioned it, Wei Tianhao immediately realized that something was wrong. Stealing Ghost Lord was a master ninja of Yamaguchi-gumi. He should be able to kill a normal kid in a matter of minutes. However, it had been almost an hour. Why wasn't Stealing Ghost Lord back yet? Master Honda, it seems like something big happened. Stealing Ghost Lord's phone is off. Wei Tianhao ended the call with the ghost-stealing monarch. His heart was already tense, and an ominous feeling involuntarily arose. "Baka, Miss Chioya, it seems like I'll have to trouble you to go to the Sanbei district." Honda roared in anger and stood up from his chair. A gust of wind blew through the air. Miss Chioya appeared out of thin air, scaring Jiao Jiao and the others. When did this woman come to the hall? All right, Chioya's voice was ethereal. By the time everyone heard her, she was no longer in the hall. This woman was as elusive as a ghost, scaring everyone to the point that they had goosebumps. "Mr. Honda, what should we do now?" Wei Tianhao knew something big had happened, and he panicked. Honda was so angry that his face turned red and twisted. "Let's go back first. You are the boss of Defo Casino. You have such a big business there. Do you think these people are afraid that you will go back on your words?" Honda stormed out with a cold face. Wei Tianhao followed him, not forgetting to turn around and shout to Jiao Jiao, "I'll leave the auction items with you for now. I'll send someone to pay for them tomorrow." The 2 of them left. No one in the auction house dared to stop them. Putting aside the fact that Wei Tianhao had an illustrious status in Hong Kong, just the sudden appearance and disappearance of Miss Chioya was enough to scare everyone. These people were really afraid that if they were to fall out with Wei Tianhao and that Japanese, wouldn't their ending be very cruel? Is everything settled? Qin Feng left the abandoned factory and went to the off-road vehicle. He looked at Yin Wushuang and said, "Yes, let's go." Qin Feng was in a hurry to leave, but he suddenly realized a big problem. The trunk and the back seat of the off-road vehicle were filled with money. Yin Wushuang was sitting in the driver's seat, while Li was sitting in the passenger seat. Qin Feng was wondering where he should sit. "Xiao Feng, where do you want to sit?" Yin Wushuang quickly realized the problem. Qin Feng could not help but imagine the scene where Ao Wuchang tied the 13 gangsters of Hong Kong to the roof of the car. He could not help but shudder. Before Qin Feng could answer, Yin Wushuang said, "Why don't you run after the car?" Qin Feng's mouth twitched. He snapped, "Why don't you run after me? I'm a woman." Yin Wushuang pouted and put on a cool expression. "Why can't I see that?" Qin Feng deliberately angered Yin Wushuang. Yin Wushuang was instantly enraged. When Li saw the 2 of them were about to fight, she quickly said in a coquettish Hong Kong accent, "Stop fighting. Xiao Feng, why don't you squeeze with me? Or I can sit on your lap. I'm not heavy anyway, so I won't crush you to death." Leah pretended to be Xiao Feng's girlfriend when she first met him at Dafu Casino. Qin Feng had taken advantage of almost everything, so Leah did not mind. Moreover, Qin Feng had made a great contribution tonight by destroying one of Wei Tianhao's hideouts. Leah felt that this was a small reward for Qiaofeng. Don't be so troublesome. Hurry up and get in the car. I'll sit on your lap. Yan Wushuang was like a different person when she heard Li Ye's words. Earlier, she asked Qin Feng to run after the car. But now, she took the initiative to pull Qin Feng into the car. Qin Feng was confused by this woman. When Qin Feng sat in the car, Yan Wushuang sat in Qin Feng's embrace. Yan Wushuang was very light, and her body was very elastic. Qin Feng drove the SUV on the muddy road, and felt like he was having a car shake. The SUV drove directly into the police station where Leah was at. Leah called some reliable confidants over to unload the money. Everyone was stunned when they saw the car full of US dollars and gold bars. Where did this beautiful superior get so much money from? Could it be that she robbed a bank in the middle of the night? Leah temporarily placed the black money in the police station's secret warehouse for safekeeping. Then, she busied herself with reporting the latest developments to her superior. Seeing that Leah was extremely busy, Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang left first and drove the SUV back to the hotel. In the following time, Leah and her superior began to carry out all kinds of investigations and evidence collection, trying to find evidence that could convict Wei Tianhao and the Yamaguchi-gumi. Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang, on the other hand, were very free. The two of them stayed in the hotel and secretly observed the progress of the situation. Inside the private banquet hall, on the 4th floor of the Dafu Casino, Honda sat on a leather sofa, while Wei Tianhao carefully stood beside him. Miss Chioya stood behind Honda with her hands behind her back and an expressionless face. They couldn't contact the ghost-stealing lord since last night, so Miss Chioya was now responsible for Master Honda's safety. Baka, the underground gold vault in the Sand District has been discovered. Tens of billions of US dollars and a large amount of gold have been stolen. What the hell is going on? Honda suddenly stood up and glared at Wei Tianhao furiously. There were 3 black vaults in Hong Kong. Only Honda, Wei Xiaolei, and a few other important people knew the locations of these 3 vaults. Now that the vaults had been stolen, Honda became even more suspicious. How could an outsider find out the location of such a hidden vault? Wei Tianhao was so scared that his legs were trembling, and his body was drenched in sweat. Wei Tianhao really didn't steal the money from the vault. He knew how powerful the Yamaguchi-gumi was. Even if he stole the money, he wouldn't be alive to spend it. Master Honda, I really didn't do it. I was with you the whole night. How could I have the chance to do it? Wei Tianhao immediately defended himself. Honda's expression kept changing. He didn't think Wei Tianhao was the culprit, because he didn't have the guts to do it. However, nothing was absolute. Honda still had to interrogate Wei Tianhao. There wasn't enough money at the auction, so it was your 8 warriors who went to the Sand District to withdraw the money. How do you explain that? Honda stared at Wei Tianhao coldly. Master Honda, I don't know where those 8 bastards went. Maybe they really stole the money, but I definitely didn't order them to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare to stand in front of Master Honda. I would have run away in the middle of the night, Wei Tianhao said. Honda's old eyes, which were half covered by his eyelids, glowed. Wei Tianhao's words made sense. It seemed like this kid really didn't do it. Seeing the change in Honda's expression, Wei Tianhao quickly continued. Master Honda, not only did the 8 warriors go missing, but the ghost-stealing lord also went missing. Also, the 13 gangsters that we sent to kidnap Ao Shawan yesterday afternoon also went missing. This can't be that simple. In one day, 22 people went missing one after another. Moreover, these people were all powerful martial artists. Wei Tianhao and Honda didn't believe that they were all assassinated. Since when did Hong Kong have such a powerful person who could kill 22 people in one day? Unless it was Japan's #1 heavenly ninja, Miss Chioya, who was standing behind Honda. Honda sat back on the sofa and fell silent. Wei Tianhao also shut his mouth, not daring to disturb Honda. After a while, Honda looked up at Wei Tianhao and said, 22 martial artists disappeared in one day. I don't believe that there are such martial artists in Hong Kong. I suspect that these 22 people colluded and stole the Sand Bay Group's secret vault. Quickly send more people to guard the other 2 vaults. If there's another accident, I'll kill you. Honda shouted at Wei Tianhao. Wei Tianhao was so scared that he quickly agreed. Just when Wei Tianhao was about to leave, Honda stopped him. Wait, there's one more thing that you need to do. Now that the ghost-stealing lord, the 8 warriors and the 13 gangsters have all gone missing, our power is greatly weakened. You need to go to Hong sect as soon as possible. No matter what, you have to cooperate with Ao Wuchang temporarily. Otherwise, we won't be able to launder money in this Hong Kong Gambling King tournament. Honda didn't expect that so many bad things would happen so close to the Gambling King tournament. He was starting to lose confidence. Wei Tianhao listened to Master Honda's words. Whatever Honda said he would do. Okay, I'll go and do it now. Wei Tianhao hurried to leave. After a while Honda said, Miss Chioya, please contact the guy from Dragon Sect and ask him to come to Hong Kong as well. I'm afraid that this money laundering operation is going to be messed up. Chapter 741. In the old mansion of Hong Sect, Huang Jinghua, the leader of White Tiger Hall, was working with a group of his men. They were carrying buckets of cement and shovels to fill the deep holes in the courtyard. Everyone looked helpless. They felt that they had learned nothing but the necessary skills of a senior bricklayer after being in Hong Sect for a few years. Last night, Ao Wuchang captured the 13 gangsters and interrogated them overnight. He found out who was the mastermind behind them. In a fit of rage, Ao Wuchang stomped the courtyard in the middle of the night. When the disciples of Hong Sect woke up in the morning, they thought that the courtyard had been bombed. What do you think is wrong with our Zhongduozu? He stomped the ground without saying a word. Oh my God, why is the hole so big? The disciples complained as they patched the holes. Huang Jinggua's face changed dramatically. He cleared his throat and shouted, Yo! Head leader Wuchang, you're up early today. Ao Wuchang was wearing a white training suit. His long hair fluttered in the wind, revealing his handsome face. He exuded the aura of a Jianghu hero. What nonsense are you talking about? When did I not wake up early to practice martial arts? Ao Wuchang glared at Huang Jinghua. He felt that Huang Jinghua was acting weird today. Huang Jinghua knew that head leader Wuchang would wake up at this time every morning to practice martial arts. His shout was meant for his men to hear. When his men saw Ao Wuchang, they shut their mouths in fear. If head leader Wuchang heard their complaints, they would end up with hundreds of deep holes in the ground. Why hasn't my baby sister Xiaowan woken up yet? Brother Qin is coming to visit us. How can this girl not get up to greet you? Ao Wuchang seemed to be talking to himself. Huang Jinghua immediately threw away the tools in his hand and said with a smile, Head leader Wuchang, I'll go knock on eldest Mrs. door and wake her up. Ao Wuchang nodded, and Huang Jinghua went to call someone. Before he reached Ao Xiaowan's room, the door of Ao Xiaowan's room was pushed open, and a pure little beauty in a flowery short skirt and a white shirt walked out. Huang Jinggua's expression changed dramatically. He shouted as if he had seen a ghost. Fuck! Who are you? Why did you come out from eldest Mrs. room? Where is my little sister Xiaowan? Where did you hide her? Huang Jinggua's ghostly cry attracted the attention of Ao Wuchang and the other disciples who were patching up the holes. Instantly, everyone was dumbfounded, and their faces were filled with disbelief. Huang Jinghua, you bastard, how dare you yell at me? Are you tired of living? Believe it or not, this old lady will crush your balls with one foot. Although Ao Xiaowan was dressed like a young girl, and had even removed her ear studs, nose studs and lip studs, she still had a fiery temper. As soon as she spoke, everyone immediately calmed down. The daughter of the Hong sect was still alive. She was still here. Xiaowan, what are you doing? Ao Wuchang was completely dumbfounded by his little sister's appearance today. In his mind, his little sister was always wearing makeup that was neither human nor ghost. Afro, smoky makeup, strange tattoos, cool studs. However, the younger sister in front of him was pure and adorable. Her skin was as white as snow, and she wore no makeup on her face. If she hadn't yelled at Huang Jinghua with some vulgarities just now, she would have looked like a white lotus waiting to bloom, just by standing there quietly. Brother, I am scolding you. Ao Shaoan looked at Ao Wuchang strangely. She always felt that her brother and the disciples of the Hong sect were looking at her strangely today. Ao Wuchang was stunned for a long time before he came to his senses. He jumped lightly to Ao Shaoan's side, put his big hand on his sister's forehead, frowned and muttered, "You don't have a fever, you don't have a cold. But why is your brain suddenly abnormal?" "Ao Wuchang, what are you talking about? Whose brain is abnormal? If you keep talking nonsense, believe it or not, I will scold you too." Ao Shaoan's fiery temper rose again. Every time she got angry, she would directly call her brother's name. Ao Wuchang also realized that his sister was really angry, but he couldn't understand why his sister was angry. "Ahem. Shaoan, stop it. Go back and change your clothes and dress up. I'm not used to you looking like this." Usually, the elder brother wanted his sister to dress up beautifully. Ao Wuchang had been brainwashed by his sister's non-mainstream image. He felt that it was normal for his sister to put on smoky makeup and wear a nose and lip stud. When Ao Shaoan learned that Qin Feng was coming to visit him, he got up early in the morning to dress up. This was the first time Ao Shaoan had dressed up like a lady. However, as soon as he came out, he was questioned by his elder brother and the disciples of the Hong sect. "I don't want to change. I want to dress like this. Don't I look good like this? Huang Jinghua, tell me, do I look good today?" Huang Jinghua had seen Ao Shaoan with smoky makeup and led the non-mainstream fashion trend in Hong Kong. He had long been used to the non-mainstream fashion of the eldest miss, so he always felt that Ao Shaoan looked weird. Huang Jinghua didn't dare to say anything. He looked at Ao Wuchang with grievance. Ao Wuchang quickly turned his head and pretended that he knew nothing. "Are you deaf? I asked you a question." Ao Shaoan glared at Huang Jinghua angrily. Huang Jinghua hastily smiled and said, "You look good. You look good no matter what you put on." Ao Wuchang's mouth twitched when he heard Huang Jinghua's lie. Ao Shaoan was overjoyed. She knew she was born beautiful, so she would look good no matter what she put on. "Head leader Wuchang, Mr. Qin Feng is here." At this time, a disciple of the Hong sect walked in with Qin Feng. Ao Wuchang hurried to greet him. When Ao Shaoan saw the handsome Qin Feng in a white suit, her little heart beat faster and faster. "Haha, brother Qin Feng, you are here. I have been waiting for you for a long time." Ao Wuchang called Qin Feng this morning and invited him to visit the Hong sect. Qin Feng happened to have nothing to do, so he came here. It would be good if he could resolve the conflict with the Hong sect because of Qiao Feng's identity. "Head leader Wuchang, you are too polite. It is my honor to visit the Hong sect," Qin Feng said with a smile. "Haha, we are brothers, so there is no need to be polite to each other. It will make us seem like strangers. Come, let me show you around the old house of the Hong sect. The scenery here is very good." Ao Wuchang put his arm around Qin Feng's shoulder and began to wander around with him. Ao Shaoan shyly lowered her head and followed behind them without saying a word. After chatting for a while, Qin Feng suddenly asked, "By the way, why don't I see Sister Shaoan?" Ao Wuchang and Ao Shaoan stopped abruptly. The corner of Ao Wuchang's mouth twitched. He wanted to laugh, but he dared not. He was afraid that his sister would really break off the relationship with him. "Brother Qin Feng, Sister Shaoan is behind you," Ao Shaoan said in a low voice. Her voice was soft and weak, which made Ao Wuchang's hair stand on end. Qin Feng was so scared that he jumped up and stared at the woman behind him, as if he had seen a ghost. You? You are Sister Shaoan?" Qin Feng was really scared. He was wondering why there was a little girl following behind him. It turned out that this girl was Ao Shaoan. Qin Feng recalled the first time he met Ao Shaoan. Ao Shaoan had a yellow afro, smoky makeup, and all sorts of piercings on her nose and lips. This girl kept saying, "I'm your mother." She would chop you to death at the slightest provocation, or ask Big Brother to stomp you to death. The image of Ao Shaoan, as a non-mainstream delinquent girl, had been deeply imprinted in Qin Feng's mind. Now, she suddenly changed into a pure student's makeup, which really surprised Qin Feng. Ao Shaoan's little mouth was stubborn, and tears of grievance were about to flow out. Ao Shaoan had lived for 18 years, and this was the first time that she had changed her appearance and habits for others. However, she was questioned by everyone. It seemed that it only brought Qin Feng shock, but not joy. Ao Shaowan was so sad that she almost died. Brother Qin Feng, I'm going back to my room. You can walk with me. Ao Shaowan was about to leave with red eyes. After knowing that Qin Feng would come today, she had been tossing and turning all morning. Now, all the good mood suddenly disappeared. Looking at Ao Shaowan's lonely back, Qin Feng said with a smile, Sister Shaowan, are you really going back? I found that you dressed very beautifully today. I was stunned by your beauty just now. I don't know if you would like to accompany me for a while. Let's go shopping together. Qin Feng was a legend in the world of picking up girls. With a few words, he made Ao Shaowan burst with joy. Ao Shaowan turned around and ran back. She took the initiative to hold Qin Feng's arm and said to Qin Feng with a smile, Okay, then I'll accompany you more. Ao Wuchang was born to be very slow in the relationship between men and women. Otherwise, he would have seen that his sister had feelings for Qin Feng yesterday. But no matter how slow he was, Ao Wuchang also found that something was wrong. Looking at his sister's bright smile when she held Qin Feng's arm, Ao Wuchang's mouth twitched. Is my sister in love? Does she know how to fall in love? Realizing that his sister might have feelings for Qin Feng, Ao Wuchang became more cautious in his words. He only said good things about his sister to Qin Feng. As for his sister's shortcomings, which were as many as the sea water in the sea, Ao Wuchang kept his mouth shut. Ao Shaowan was very satisfied with his brother's performance today. From time to time, he secretly cast an appreciative look at his brother. Ao Wuchang had been with Qin Feng for a long time, and he appreciated Qin Feng more and more. If his sister really wanted to be with Qin Feng, Ao Wuchang would be very happy. The old house of the Hong sect was very large. It was full of buildings that looked like Sihiyuan. There were luxurious brick houses, endless gardens and martial arts fields. Qin Feng and the other two only strolled in the empty space in the north, and it took them more than an hour. Brother Qin Feng, you must be tired after walking for so long. Come, let's go to the main hall and have some tea. Ao Wuchang led Qin Feng into the main hall of the house. Huang Jinghua hurriedly came in and poured tea for everyone. Chapter 742. When Qin Feng mentioned the 13 gangsters of Hong Kong, Ao Wuchang's face darkened. Huang Jinghua was startled when he saw Ao Wuchang lift his right foot. He hurriedly yelled, Division Leader Wuchang, there's a guest here. Please think twice before you step down. Ao Wuchang stomped the ground in anger. Before his foot touched the ground, it was put away. Indeed, Qin Feng was still here. He couldn't scare away this brother he had just met. Huang Jinghua heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the foot didn't land. I interrogated them last night, and I got the result, Ao Wuchang said. Qin Feng had just mentioned it casually to find a topic to talk about. He didn't expect that Ao Wuchang would really ask about the mastermind behind the 13 gangsters. Qin Feng asked, Who is it? Brother Qin Feng is from the mainland. I'm afraid you won't know even if I tell you. According to the 13 wild dogs, the Wei family of Dafu Casino and the Yamaguchi Gumi ordered them to do it. In Hong Kong, Ao Wuchang was probably the only one who would call the 13 gangsters 13 wild dogs. Qin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He asked, The Wei family and Yamaguchi Gumi? Ao Wuchang saw Qin Feng's excitement and raised his eyebrows. Brother, do you know about the Wei family and Yamaguchi Gumi? Qin Feng nodded. I know a little. Ao Wuchang didn't hide anything from Qin Feng. After all, Qin Feng had saved his sister's life from the 13 gangsters. Ao Wuchang continued. The Wei family is nothing much. In my eyes they are like ants. However, the Yamaguchi Gumi of Japan is not to be trifled with. Their organization is rich in Japanese women. No, I mean rich in Japanese ninjas. These ninjas have strange moves and unique abilities. Qin Feng had fought with ghost-stealing Lord, so he could understand what Ao Wuchang was saying. Not only were the Japanese ninjas powerful, but they were also good at ninjutsu, illusion jutsu. They also had all kinds of hidden weapons and poisonous gas. If one was not careful, they might fall into their trap. Then why did they kidnap little Wan? Qin Feng was investigating Wei Tianhao and Yamaguchi Gumi. He thought he might be able to get some secret information from Ao Wuchang. Ao Shaowan had obviously misunderstood Qin Fen. Seeing that Qin Fen was so concerned about her, she was embarrassed. Big brother Qin Feng, don't worry about me. Let big brother deal with those Japanese Yamaguchi-gumi bastards. Please don't avenge little sister Shaowan. I heard that Japanese ninjas are very powerful. What if you get hurt? Ao Shaowan acted coquettishly, trying to act cute. Qin Fen and Ao Wuchang's mouths twitched, and they immediately felt uncomfortable. This was especially true for Ao Wuchang, whose face was as black as the bottom of a pot. It was said that a married woman was like spilled water, and it was indeed true. You're afraid that Qin Fen will get hurt. But does that mean your big brother won't get hurt? Qin Feng had never intended to avenge Ao Shaowan. This was purely Ao Shaowan thinking too much. Hee alright. I'll listen to little sister Shaowan. I won't be impulsive and avenge you. Qin Feng said with a smile. Ao Shaowan nodded happily, and held Qin Fen's arm tighter. Qin Fen felt a softness rubbing against his arm, which was very comfortable, but he pretended that nothing had happened. It's good that big brother Qin Fen can think this way. Let big brother do those dangerous things. We just want to enjoy the results that big brother has built. Ao Shaowan smiled innocently. Ao Wuchang's head began to fume, and he suddenly didn't know what to say. Ao Wuchang adjusted his mood for a while, and continued. The Wei family and Yamaguchi-gumi seemed to be laundering money in secret. They wanted to recruit me, but I directly refused. I think this time they asked the 13 gangsters to kidnap my sister, because they want to get hold of my weakness, and force me to give in. Qin Fen didn't expect that Ao Wuchang also knew about Yamaguchi-gumi and Wei Tianhao's money laundering. Qin Fen hurriedly asked, Branch Leader Wuchang, do you have evidence of their money laundering? Do you know where their black gold vault is? I definitely don't have evidence. Otherwise I would have taken care of them long ago. As for the black gold vault, I don't know. Ao Wuchang shook his head. Qin Fen was slightly disappointed. Huh. Brother Qin Fen, you also know about their money laundering? Who the hell are you? Ao Wuchang saw some problems. Almost no one knew about Yamaguchi-gumi and the Wei family's money laundering. How did Qin Fen know about it? Seeing that he had spilled the beans, Qin Fen didn't hide it anymore. To be honest, Branch Leader Wuchang, I'm actually sent by China's Dragon Sect to investigate this money laundering case. Upon hearing China's Dragon Sect, Ao Wuchang's expression changed drastically. You're from China's Dragon Sect? Before Qin Fen revealed his identity, he was worried that the identity of Dragon Sect would scare Ao Wuchang. Now it seemed that he was right. Qin Fen said somewhat proudly. Haha, Branch Leader Wuchang, don't be too excited. China's Dragon Sect isn't as powerful as the rumors say. Keep a low profile. Ao Wuchang was stunned for a while before he couldn't help but laugh. Brother Qin Fen, I think you've misunderstood. Although Dragon Sect is powerful, Ao Wuchang don't care. I heard that China's Dragon Sect sent a few batches of people over, but they were all killed by Japan's Yamaguchi-gumi. Even one of China's 9 dragons, Blue Dragon, was transferred over. Now his whereabouts are unknown. What is Dragon Sect thinking? How dare they send people over? Aren't they sending you to your deaths? Qin Fen was stunned by Ao Wuchang's words. He thought Ao Wuchang was afraid of his identity as Dragon Sect, but it turned out that was not the case. Blue Dragon Ji? He also came to investigate this case. Qin Fen couldn't remain calm. It's absolutely true. This is what the Yamaguchi-gumi told me personally when they came to cooperate with me. They said that they captured China's Blue Dragon and had the ability to launder money in Hong Kong. However, I didn't agree to their request. A bunch of Japanese dared to come to China and cause trouble? It's good enough that I didn't trample them to death. Bang! Ao Wuchang lost his temper as he spoke. He stomped on the ground, and the ground shook slightly. A huge pit was created by Ao Wuchang. When Huang Jinghua, who was standing outside the house, heard the commotion inside, he didn't even need to look. His expression immediately darkened. He wanted to knock this idiot branch leader out with a stick. Yan Wushuang knew that Blue Dragon was missing before she came to Hong Kong, but she didn't dare to tell Qin Fen. With Yan Wushuang's understanding of Qin Fen, She was afraid that Qin Fen would turn around and run back to the mainland if she told him. Qin Fen couldn't accept the news until now. If ordinary members of Dragon Sect were captured, Qin Fen wouldn't be afraid of the Yamaguchi-gumi. However, even China's blue dragon had been captured. This was no joke. The strength of China's 9 dragons was different. They were ranked in descending order of color: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. Red Dragon was recognized as the strongest among the 7 dragons, and Purple Dragon was the weakest. Qin Fen had fought with both Purple Dragon and Azure Dragon before, and he was no match for them. Blue Dragon's strength was in the middle of second high school, and Qin Fen couldn't defeat him. How could Qin Fen deal with an enemy that even Blue Dragon couldn't defeat? Unless he released Ouyang Feng and Shimen Chuexiue. Yamaguchi-gumi has such a powerful expert? They can even subdue Blue Dragon? Qin Fen still didn't believe it. The 9 dragons and 5 tigers were one of the top experts in China. If they were subdued by Japanese ninjas, wouldn't Japan rebel sooner or later? Ao Wuchang's expression became solemn. He still couldn't figure out the answer to this question. I don't know the details. Since you're from Dragon Sect, you have to be more careful in this mission. Ao Wuchang sighed. He seemed to be worried about Qin Fen's strength. Ao Shaowan became anxious when he learned that Qin Fen was in danger. Brother, I don't care. You have to help big brother Qin Fen. Otherwise, I'll cut off all ties with you. Ao Wuchang felt an indescribable sadness when he saw his sister had a boyfriend and had forgotten her own brother. In fact, Ao Wuchang didn't need Ao Shaowan's request. He also planned to help Qin Fen. After all, Qin Fen had saved his sister's life. Ao Wuchang owed Qin Fen a big favor. Division Leader Wuchang, someone wants to see you. Huang Jingwa suddenly ran in. When he spoke, he couldn't help glancing at the ground beside Ao Wuchang's feet. When he saw the deep pit, he gritted his teeth in anger. Who wants to see you? Ao Wuchang asked. He said his name is Wei Tianhao. He is here to discuss a big business with Division Leader on behalf of Yamaguchi-gumi, Huang Jingwa said. Motherfucker. This son of a bitch must be tired of living. I didn't go looking for trouble with them, but they still dare to come to me? I should be the one to flick his dick. Ao Wuchang slammed the table and cursed. Ao Shaowan secretly glared at his brother. He was very dissatisfied with his brother's behavior. Qin Fen was also slightly taken aback. Wei Tianhao dared to come to Ao Wuchang at this time? This doesn't make sense. Qin Fen's mind raced. Soon, he seemed to have figured out the relationship between the two events. Ghost-stealing Lord was killed by Qin Fen. The 8 guardian deities were also killed by Qin Fen, and the 13 gangsters were locked up in Hong's sect. No one knew if they were still alive or dead. The disappearance of these 22 experts must have alerted Master Honda. Now that Wei Tianhao had taken the initiative to visit Ao Wuchang, there was only one possibility. Honda and Wei Tianhao had mistakenly thought that the 22 experts had betrayed them and escaped with the Black Vault. Tomorrow was the International Gambling King tournament, so Honda was in a hurry to find a partner. Division Leader Wuchang calmed down. I have a plan. Are you willing to cooperate with me? Qin Fen stopped Ao Wuchang, who was about to leave. What plan? Ao Wuchang was clearly still angry. His face was cold and indifferent. Qin Fen told Ao Wuchang his speculation. Ao Wuchang's expression changed. After thinking for a while, Ao Wuchang said, I see. I was wondering why this son of a bitch dared to come to me at this time. He is courting death. Seeing that Ao Wuchang had calmed down a little, Qin Fen lowered his voice and told Ao Wuchang his plan. Chapter 743. Ding! The Hedonist sovereign system has issued a quest. Stop Yamaguchi-gumi's money laundering scheme and rescue China's blue dragon. Quest time limit, half a month. If the quest is completed, the system will reward you 50,000 Hedonist points and the Angel's Sword. If the quest is failed, 100,000 Hedonist points will be deducted. The system notification rang in Qin Feng's mind. At this moment, Huang Jingwa walked in with Wei Tianhao. Wei Tianhao had just entered the room. Before he could greet Ao Wuchang, his eyes fell on Ao Shaowan. He was so shocked that he almost jumped up. Ao Shaowan was the daughter of the Hong sect. She was famous for being a gangster in Hong Kong. Her yellow afro and pierced lips were deeply engraved in people's hearts. This sudden change was hard for most people to accept. "Brat, if you dare to look at me again, I'll gouge your eyeballs out and stomp on them." Ao Shawan knew that Wei Tianhao and Yamaguchi Gumi were the ones who kidnapped him last night. Naturally, she had a bad temper with Wei Tianhao. But as soon as she finished shouting, Ao Shawan seemed to realize something. She suddenly grabbed Qin Feng's arm and laughed awkwardly. "Haha, big brother Feng, do you want some tea? I'll pour you a cup of hot tea." Wei Tianhao was scolded, but he didn't care at all. Looking at Ao Shawan's deranged expression, Wei Tianhao stood in the wind. Soon, Wei Tianhao came back to his senses. His face darkened. He didn't expect that the brat who deliberately raised the price with him last night was here. "Stinking brat, hurry up and greet our Hong Triad's leader. I think you're asking for a beating." Just as Ao Shawan finished scolding Wei Tianhao, Huang Jinghua shouted at Wei Tianhao again. Wei Tianhao was aggrieved. He was the boss of Dafu Casino. Even though he didn't dare to show off in front of Ao Wuchang and Ao Shawan. How dare a Hong sect disciple yell at him? "Have you ever thought about how I feel?" Wei Tianhao was filled with anger, but he still had to smile and say to Ao Wuchang, "Leader Wuchang, I hope you won't take offense to my visit today." Ao Wuchang also had a belly full of rage in his heart. If Qin Fen hadn't told him a brilliant plan, he would have already stomped Wei Tianhao to death with his explosive temper. "Cut the crap. Since you know you're disturbing me, then hurry up and spit it out." Ao Wuchang didn't give Wei Tianhao any face and roared at him. Wei Tianhao was so aggrieved that tears were about to fall out. He had only been in the room for less than a minute, and he had already been cursed by 3 people. This was the first time Wei Tianhao had encountered such grievances in all his years of living. "Ahem. Chief Wuchang, I have some private matters to discuss with you. I wonder if we can find a quiet place to talk." "Quiet my ass. If you want to talk, then do it here. If not, then get the hell out of here." Ao Wuchang grumbled impatiently. Wei Tianhao's face darkened. After all, he was a member of the Yamaguchi Gumi. He said unhappily, "Ao Wuchang, I'm here to cooperate with you on behalf of Lord Honda. Is this how you treat me?" As soon as Wei Tianhao finished speaking, a crisp sound came from the back of his head. Huang Jinghua slapped him and yelled, "Motherfucker! How dare you call our Chief Wuchang by his name? Do you want to die? You dare hit me? Do you know who I am?" "I am." Wei Tianhao glared at Huang Jinghua, as if he had seen a ghost. Even a Hong sect disciple dared to act atrociously in front of him? Was there anyone in this world who would defy the law? However, Huang Jinghua jumped up and gave him another slap before Wei Tianhao could finish his sentence. "Slap. I don't care who you are. Look carefully, this is the Hong sect. In the Hong sect, Chief Wuchang is the most powerful person. Even if the Heavenly King came, he would have to crawl away." Huang Jinghua and Wei Tianhao actually didn't have a deep grudge. The reason why he was so angry was very simple. Ao Wuchang had stepped on too many deep holes in the courtyard these days, and Huang Jinghua filled in the holes to vent his anger. Huang Jinghua didn't dare to vent his anger on Ao Wuchang, so he vented all his anger on Wei Tianhao. Wei Tianhao's head was spinning from the 2 slaps, and his arrogance was completely gone. Wei Tianhao finally saw the situation clearly. This was Hong Kong, and in the end, it was still the Hong sect's world. He, Wei Tianhao, was really nothing in the eyes of the Hong sect. Even if he was from the Yamaguchi Gumi, so what? "Chief Wuchang, I was impolite just now. The reason why I wanted to find a quiet place was because I was afraid that important information would be leaked. But I believe that everyone here is on the same side, so I'll get to the point." Wei Tianhao only became obedient after being slapped twice, and Huang Jinghua felt that this person deserved to be slapped. "Speak." Ao Wuchang glanced coldly at Wei Tianhao. "This time, I came to visit Chief Wuchang on the orders of the Yamaguchi Gumi's leader, Lord Honda. Lord Honda wants to form a partnership with you to carry out money laundering activities at the Hong Kong International Gambling King tournament tomorrow." Wei Tianhao had already mentioned his intention to cooperate with Ao Wuchang on money laundering, so he decided to get straight to the point. "Didn't I tell you last time? I'm not interested in this. Ao Wuchang said with a cold expression. Seeing Ao Wuchang's resolute refusal, Wei Tianhao was about to die. This time, Lord Honda had ordered Wei Tianhao to form a partnership with the Hong sect, or else he wouldn't have to go back to see him. But looking at the situation now, it seemed that the task was very difficult. Chief Wuchang, Lord Honda said that if you agree to cooperate with us, he will give you 30% of the money we laundered at the tournament tomorrow. Wei Tianhao offered 30% of the profits to Ao Wuchang. This was definitely a huge loss, but Ao Wuchang's expression didn't change. I already said I'm not interested. Do you believe that I won't stomp you to death if you keep talking nonsense? Get out of here. Ao Wuchang suddenly jumped up, causing Wei Tianhao to retreat in fear. Huang Jingwa suddenly stretched out his leg and tripped Wei Tianhao, causing him to fall flat on his face. Wei Tianhao fell head first onto the ground. Half of his teeth had fallen out, and he was so angry that his neck was red. However, looking at Huang Jingwa's well-built muscles, Wei Tianhao could only swallow his grievances. Chief Wuchang. Wei Tianhao still wanted to argue, but Ao Wuchang cut him off and roared, "Get out!" Wei Tianhao was on the verge of tears. If he didn't form a partnership with the Hong sect, he wouldn't be able to report to Lord Honda. The atmosphere immediately became tense. Qin Fan chuckled as he walked to Ao Wuchang's side and said, "Division Leader Wuchang, don't be so angry. I think this guy is sincere about cooperating. Why don't you have a good chat with him?" Wei Tianhao didn't expect Qin Fan to suddenly stand up for him. At the auction last night, Qin Fan was very apologetic towards him. "Young Master Feng, money laundering is against the law. My Hong sect is not easy to deal with." Ao Wuchang's fierce expression immediately softened, and his voice was very gentle when he spoke to Qin Fan. Wei Tianhao was stunned. He started to guess Qin Fan's identity. It seemed that he was a big shot. In the face of profit, there's nothing that can't be done. Moreover, in this society, the timid will starve to death, and the bold will die. Qin Fan had been trying to persuade Ao Wuchang. The two of them had already discussed this beforehand. One of them would play the good cop, and the other the bad cop, so that Wei Tianhao and Yamaguchi Gumi wouldn't suspect anything. Wei Tianhao had originally hated Qin Feng to the core, but he hadn't expected Qin Feng to speak up for him at such a crucial moment. Wei Tianhao immediately cast aside his previous unhappiness with Qin Feng, and seeing Qin Feng now was like seeing his own brother. "This is young Master Feng, right? Young Master Feng has a good eye. You're absolutely right. If you want to make a lot of money, you need to have some guts. The more guts you have, the more money you can make." Wei Tianhao joined Qin Fan's group to persuade Ao Wuchang. Ao Wuchang gave Huang Jingwa a look, and Huang Jingwa jumped up and slapped Wei Tianhao's head angrily again. "Do you know how to speak? What do you mean? Ah, are you saying that our Hong sect's leader doesn't have guts?" Wei Tianhao didn't know what he said wrong this time. His head hurt from Huang Jingwa's slap, but Wei Tianhao couldn't explode. He said with a wronged expression, "Big brother, don't misunderstand. I didn't say that Leader Wuchang doesn't have balls. Leader Wuchang is majestic and has an extraordinary bearing. He can play with 3 girls in one night, so how can he not have balls?" After Wei Tianhao finished speaking, Qin Fan and the others were stunned. The corner of Qin Fan's mouth couldn't help but twitch. He wanted to laugh but was too embarrassed to do so. Ao Shawan buried his head in embarrassment, but secretly glanced at Qin Fan's belly button. Huang Jingwa almost burst into laughter, but he stopped halfway because he felt a murderous look from Leader Wuchang. Slap! Without waiting for Ao Wuchang to speak, Huang Jingwa slapped Wei Tianhao again. This slap was full of strength, and almost sent Wei Tianhao flying. "How dare you question our Leader Wuchang's balls? Are you fucking deaf? I'm talking about guts, you fucking bastard." Huang Jingwa's boldness one moment, and cowardice the next truly confused Wei Tianhao. Wei Tianhao didn't dare to mention this again. He hurriedly said, "Leader Wuchang, if you think the dividend is too low, then I'll raise it to 4 points, okay? This is already our bottom line." Ao Wuchang looked at Qin Fan calmly. Seeing Qin Fan nod, Ao Wuchang said, Okay, you really annoy me to death. Then let's do it this way. We'll split it 40-60. If you dare to go back on your word, I'll kill you myself." Wei Tianhao didn't expect Ao Wuchang to really agree. He was so excited that tears almost flowed out of his eyes. Okay, don't worry, Leader Wuchang. No one dares to go back on their word with the Hong sect in Hong Kong. Since we're cooperating, let's further discuss money laundering activities. Ao Wuchang agreed to cooperate according to Qin Fun's intention. Then, Wei Tianhao told Ao Wuchang about the specific plan of money laundering at the Gambling King competition tomorrow. P.S. It's the end of the month, and the subscription has dropped a bit. I hope everyone will continue to support the original version. Chapter 744. Sky City, Suqin Pharmaceuticals. Su Qiuyu sat in the CEO's office on the top floor. Her phone never stopped ringing. Ever since Suqin Pharmaceuticals produced the gold sore medicine and whitening cream, their business had been booming. Now, not only were their products famous in Sky City, but they were also famous throughout Wuxia after a month of promotion. Su Qiuyu didn't know how many phone calls she received in the morning. There were calls from her younger sister and grandfather's branch companies to urge them to stock up. There were also calls from pharmaceutical bosses in various regions to discuss cooperation. There were also calls from Su Qiuyu's friends who couldn't buy the whitening cream and asked Su Qiuyu to reserve some for them. Su Qiuyu had been very busy this month. She slept at most 3 hours a day. However, she was very happy. The products Qin Feng gave her had really opened up the market. The sales had long surpassed the cicada pupa powder and fall water released by the Liang family in the provincial capital. Because the whitening cream and the gold sore medicine were too popular, they even entered the sights of Wuxia martial artists. Some martial artists bought a few bottles of the gold sore medicine out of curiosity to test their effects. After trying them, they were shocked. The gold sore medicine, which costs 100 yuan per bottle, had the same effect as the healing pills sold by the Sacred Medicine Hall in the Martial Art Alliance, which cost 10,000 yuan per bottle. The news seemed to have grown wings. It spread quickly in the ancient martial arts world of Wuxia. The entire ancient martial arts world was shocked. Everyone started to buy the gold sore medicine, produced by Suqin Pharmaceuticals. The whitening cream's target audience was all women in Wuxia. From the age of 99 to the age of just learning to walk, everyone used it. This was because this product had no age requirements. It was suitable for people of all skin types and ages. The price of the whitening cream was also very good. A bottle of whitening cream, that cost 300 yuan, could be used for 3 months. Its effect was many times better than the cicada pupa powder produced by the Liang family's Liangyao group in the provincial capital. Cicada pupa powder cost 3,000 yuan per bottle. Who would buy it? Because of Suqin Pharmaceuticals' overnight popularity, there were too many people secretly peeping at the company. In the office building opposite Suqin Pharmaceuticals building, a man dressed in black during the day was monitoring the situation of Suqin Pharmaceuticals from day to night. Silver number 1 of the Golden Assassin Group had been observing for more than half a month. The development of Suqin Pharmaceuticals had exceeded his expectations. He couldn't wait to take Suqin Pharmaceuticals and get Su Qiuyu as well. After staring at Su Qiuyu for so many days, the more he looked at her, the more he felt that she was attractive. Boss, Suqin Pharmaceuticals' momentum is fierce. When will we start to close the net? The shadow took out his mobile phone and dialed. It was quickly connected. A cold voice came from the other side of the phone. The reputation of Suqin Pharmaceuticals has spread to me. I really didn't expect their 2 main products to be so powerful. That gold sore medicine is really magical. It has the same effect as a first-grade pill. But it's only sold for 100 yuan per bottle. Suqin Pharmaceuticals has unlimited potential. Just wait for a while, and they'll be able to close the net. The shadow was very obedient. He immediately nodded and said, "Understood, boss. I will continue to keep an eye on them. This time, we have made a great contribution. I believe that Taoist gold will greatly reward us." The shadow hung up the phone, picked up the binoculars, and stared at Su Qiuyu, who was on the phone in the opposite building. Su Qiuyu didn't notice anything that happened in the dark. Because of the sudden popularity of Suqin Pharmaceuticals, the capital's largest pharmaceutical group, Liangyao Group, was very worried. These days, the Liang family often held family meetings in the old house to discuss ways to deal with Suqin Pharmaceuticals. However, after discussing for more than a week, no one came up with any feasible plan. The two products of Suqin Pharmaceuticals were too perfect. The Liang family had also personally tried it. Even they themselves felt that it was good. It was not something that cicada pupa powder and bruise water could compare to. The atmosphere in the conference hall of the Liang family's old house was solemn. All the important relatives of the Liang family were present. The old man Liang Qitian sat at the top and swept his gaze across everyone with a cold face. So many people, and none of you can think of any countermeasures? Fortunately, I didn't throw the position of the family head to you. If Liangyao Group fell into your hands, wouldn't it go bankrupt in 2 or 3 days? Liang Qitian blew his beard and glared at everyone. He could only vent his emotions by cursing everyone. The Liang family was so dejected that they didn't dare to make a sound. They just let the old man curse to his heart's content. Stop being silent. If you continue to be silent, Liangyao Group will really be replaced by Suqin Pharmaceuticals. Liang Shuiping, have you found anything on the matter I asked you to investigate? Liang Qitian looked at his eldest son, Liang Shuiping. Liang Shuiping immediately stood up and said, Dad, I've investigated. Suqin Pharmaceuticals is a business recently established by the Su family of Sky City. This Su family is the #1 family in Sky City. They used to be involved in real estate and retail. I didn't expect them to suddenly set foot in the medical industry. This is a bit strange. Hearing Liang Shuiping's words, everyone in the Liang family was puzzled. It was reasonable to say that the medical industry had to struggle for more than 10 years to stabilize its foundation. Those newly established medical companies couldn't survive at all. In the end, Suqin Pharmaceuticals had been established for less than half a year and suddenly soared to the sky. This was the first time such a thing had happened in the entire Chinese medical industry. A small family in Sky City wants to go against our capital's Liang family? They really don't know what's good for them. Liang Qitian grumbled for a while, then continued. Did the Su family find a backer? Is Suqin Pharmaceuticals the only one investing? Currently, only the Su family is investing. I haven't seen any other partners. I also found out that Suqin Pharmaceuticals is planning to openly recruit franchisees in half a month, due to its rapid development. Recently, Liang Shuiping had been secretly collecting information about Suqin Pharmaceuticals. He had indeed obtained a lot of information. However, he couldn't find any information about Qin Feng. This was because Qin Feng said he didn't want to show his face, so Su Qiuyu had Qin Feng hide behind the scenes. Seeing that everyone in the room was dejected and had no confidence at all, Liang Qitian couldn't help but feel angry. I'll make it clear today. If anyone can defeat Suqin Pharmaceuticals, I'll immediately give up my position as the head of the family and let him be the new head of the Liang family. Liang Qitian roared. Everyone immediately looked up. Everyone present was the most powerful competitor for the new head of the family. Now that this opportunity was in front of them, who wouldn't want to grasp it tightly? Don't worry, Grandpa. I'll go and prepare now. I'll definitely try to defeat Suqin Pharmaceuticals. Liang Yu was the first to stand up. A small company in Sky City dares to compete with my Liangyao Group? It's like hitting a rock with an egg. I'll go and diminish their drive right now. Liang Shuiping's second brother, Liang Hui, also said ruthlessly. The Liang family stood up one by one and ran out of the meeting room after promising their grandfather. After a while, Liang Qitian was the only one left in the empty meeting room. Looking at Suqin Pharmaceuticals' current momentum and the two best-selling products, Liang Qitian was very uncertain. Recently, Suqin Pharmaceuticals was a mess in the mainland. However, Qin Feng was in Hong Kong, so he didn't know about this. The Hong Kong International Gambling King Tournament officially started today. Gambling experts from all over the country gathered in Hong Kong's Casino Vientiane. There were also many tourists from all over the country who came to watch this year's International Gambling King Tournament. In an instant, Hong Kong was filled with people, and the scene was a complete mess. Casino Vientiane was the #1 of the 6 biggest casinos in Hong Kong. Because this was the territory of the Hong sect, this casino had almost never had any problems with the Hong sect, and its reputation was absolutely reliable. This year's Hong Kong International Gambling King Tournament would be held in Casino Vientiane. This was also the reason why Honda wanted Wei Tianhao to cooperate with the Hong sect. If the Hong sect also stood on the side of Yamaguchi-gumi, then this money laundering operation would be a piece of cake. Wei Tianhao and Honda were sitting in the lounge of Casino Vientiane. Both of them looked a little angry, because Wei Tianhao had called Xiao Feng more than 10 times, but his phone was turned off. Honda had originally invited Ghost-Stealing Lord to participate in the Hong Kong International Gambling King Tournament. However, Ghost-Stealing Lord suddenly disappeared, so Honda could only throw the responsibility to Xiao Feng. However, ever since Xiao Feng won against Ghost-Stealing Lord in the Big Billionaire Club, there was no news of him. This made Wei Tianhao and Honda depressed. Actually, Qin Feng had arrived a long time ago. He was sitting in the lobby of Casino Vientiane playing cards. Today Qin Feng appeared as Xiao Feng. He purposely turned off his phone to make Honda and Wei Tianhao anxious. Xiao Feng, will your plan go wrong? Leah, who was beside Qin Feng, was wearing a sexy red cheongsam. She even had light makeup on her face. She was as charming as a socialite. Qin Feng pulled Leah into his arms and patted her thigh. You don't trust me? You deserve it. Leah pouted and glared at Qin Feng. Qin Feng patted her thigh again and said with a smirk, You still dare to glare at me? Have you forgotten that your identity today is my maid girlfriend? Hurry up and cooperate with me. Leah was helpless in her heart, but she still put on a sweet smile. She took the initiative to hold Qin Feng's arm and said sweetly, Darling, don't hit me, I know I'm wrong. Qin Feng nodded his head in satisfaction. He was almost melted by Leah's sweet voice. Qin Feng quickly calmed himself down and started to look around, checking out the situation. Batch after batch of tourists and contestants poured into Casino Vientiane. The spacious and huge Casino Vientiane seemed a little crowded. Not long after, 2 rows of strong men in black suits walked in. The strong men entered the Casino Vientiane and consciously lined up in 2 rows, forcibly leaving a path. A man in a white robe with long hair walked in, with a pure and cute little girl in his arms. Wow! Look, that's the leader of Hong sect, Ao Wuchang. Who's the girl in his arms? I heard that Ao Wuchang is almost an idiot when it comes to love. He has never had a girlfriend. Damn! That's Ao Shawan. Oh no, my eyes are going blind. I'm so young. Why are you showing me this? The arrival of Ao Wuchang and Ao Shawan instantly caused a sensation in the venue. They were the leaders of Hong Kong's largest underground force. It could be said that they were godlike men in Hong Kong. As for Ao Shawan, who had always dressed up as a non-mainstream delinquent, his sudden change of style really blinded most people's eyes. Chapter 745. Ao Wuchang and Ao Shawan walked through the lobby. When they passed by Qin Feng, they paused. Yesterday, after Wei Tianhao left the Hong sect, Qin Feng told Ao Wuchang and Ao Shawan about Xiao Feng's identity. Both of them were stunned. It took Qin Feng a long time to explain to them the misunderstanding between Xiao Feng and Ao Shawan. Since Ao Shawan had fallen in love with Qin Feng, she expressed her trust in Qin Feng and said that she didn't care about Xiao Feng anymore. In the end, Qin Feng refrained from asking, If you really don't care about Xiao Feng anymore, Hong sect's people are all over Hong sect. What the hell is going on? Brother Xiao Feng, you have to work hard today. Ao Shawan secretly stuck her tongue out at Qin Feng. She looked like an innocent and beautiful girl, which scared Qin Feng so much that he almost rolled over. The arrival of Ao Wuchang and Ao Shawan was too loud. Wei Tianhao and Honda heard the commotion and came down from the lounge. Hee, Headmaster Wuchang, you are here. Honda stood aside with a serious expression. Wei Tianhao took the initiative to greet Ao Wuchang. The moment Ao Wuchang saw Honda, he was so angry that he almost stomped on the ground. However, when he remembered that the ground was paved with crystals, he gave up. Ao Wuchang glanced at Wei Tianhao indifferently, completely ignoring him. Wei Tianhao and Honda saw this scene and both of them were filled with rage. However, when they thought about how they still had to rely on Ao Wuchang's power to launder money, they could only continue to hold it in. Holy shit! Xiaofeng? What are you doing here? Wei Tianhao looked to the side and almost jumped out of his seat. Wei Tianhao and Honda had been cursing Xiaofeng in the lounge. They didn't expect this kid to be sitting in the lobby on the first floor of the casino. Wei Tianhao and Honda even suspected that Xiaofeng had found out that his identity had been exposed. That was why he had been hiding. However, when they saw Xiaofeng and Li Yi together, they gave up on the idea. Young Master Wei, I'm very confused by your words. Didn't we agree that I would represent you in the Gambling King tournament? Have you forgotten? Qin Feng said to Wei Tianhao with a smile. Then why haven't I been able to contact you for the past few days? You're not doing your job. Wei Tianhao had a belly full of anger, so he yelled at Qin Feng. Qin Feng slapped the table and yelled, Young Master Wei, is there something wrong with your brain? A few days ago, I asked you at Dafu Casino if you needed me to do anything for the next few days. At that time, you told me to take a good rest and wait for the King of Gamblers tournament. If your brain is really damaged, do you want me to knock it out for you? Maybe I can knock it well. As Qin Feng spoke, he looked like he was going to knock Wei Tianhao's head with his hand. Wei Tianhao was so frightened that he hurriedly retreated. Qin Feng had defeated the 8 great guardian deities and the 2 great guardians. If he knocked his head, Wei Tianhao was sure that his head would explode. Every word Qin Feng said was reasonable. Wei Tianhao couldn't find any words to refute him. Honda said with a straight face, Since you're here, do your best in the tournament. I want you to win as much as you can. That's right. More and more people gathered at Casino of Vientiane, and it was almost time for the King of Gamblers tournament. Ao Wuchang walked to the center of the hall with his arm around his little sister. Then he said into the microphone on his collar, Ahem. Everyone please be quiet. Ao Wuchang's voice rang out, and the noisy hall instantly fell silent. Ao Wuchang looked at the crowd with a smile on his face and said, Today is the annual King of Gamblers tournament of Hong Kong. I'm very happy to see all of you gathered here to participate in the tournament. I don't have many requirements in my territory, but there is one thing that I hope everyone can abide by, and that is, don't cause trouble or cheat. As long as everyone can do these 2 things, then I, Ao Wuchang, will be able to ensure the safety of everyone's personal and property. Alright, I'll cut to the chase. I hereby announce the official start of this year's Hong Kong International King of Gamblers tournament. Ao Wuchang's announcement was met with cheers from the crowd. This year's Hong Kong International King of Gamblers tournament had officially begun. All of the contestants gathered in the hall found an empty table and sat down. This King of Gamblers tournament was a very fair and open competition. Every contestant had to compete in the hall, and there were cameras all around. Furthermore, the Hong sect's leader, Ao Wuchang, would personally lead a team to patrol the area, and any contestant found to be cheating would be disqualified on the spot. The rules of this year's King of Gamblers tournament were the same as those of the previous tournaments. Every contestant would start off with 5 points, and if they lost all 5 points, they would automatically be disqualified. If they won 10 points, they would successfully advance to the intermediate round, and if they accumulated 20 points in the intermediate round, they would then proceed to the final King of Gamblers tournament. There were only 5 spots for the King of Gamblers tournament, and there were close to 1,000 contestants. The first 5 people to accumulate 20 points would be the ones to advance to the King of Gamblers tournament. At that point, all other contestants would automatically be disqualified. Ao Wuchang explained the rules of the tournament, and everyone listened attentively. This was a cruel knockout competition, and many of the contestants were already getting nervous even before the competition had begun. Aside from the over 1,000 contestants sitting at the table, there were also over 1,000 spectators standing around, some of whom were cheering for the contestants. The competition was about to begin, and the crowd was filled with cheers and cheers. Xiaofeng, do your best. Wei Tianhao was also among the crowd, and he shouted at Qin Feng. Qin Feng ignored Wei Tianhao, as if he didn't hear Wei Tianhao's words. The competition had officially begun. Ao Wuchang pressed his hand down, and the cheers immediately quieted down. The hall was filled with the sound of the dealer shuffling the cards or shaking the dice. There were more than 100 tables, and the contestants picked the game that they were good at. However, the King of Gamblers tournament had a rule that the contestants could only play one game for each game. Regardless of the outcome, the contestants would have to switch to another game. Qin Feng and Leah both appeared as competitors today. Before the competition, Qin Feng had already told Leah that no matter what he bet, Leah would just have to follow suit. Qin Feng was sitting in front of a dice-shaking table, and he was surrounded by a group of men and women. The young dealer was shaking the dice in a fancy way, and his cool action attracted the crowd's exclamations. The contestants were obviously not surprised by the sight, and they all listened attentively to the number of the dice. After shaking for a while, the dealer stopped. Everyone began to place their bets, from 1 to 18, with different bets. 3 points. Qin Feng smiled as he put down his points. He needed 1 point to make a bet. If he won, he would win 1 point, and if he lost, he would lose his points. Furthermore, if he got 3 leopards with the same number of points, he would get 3 points. 3 points. Qin Feng placed his bet, and Leah followed him without hesitation. Seeing Qin Feng and Leah's bet, the rest of the contestants sighed. Almost all of them were mocking and disdainful. These two people are really crazy about winning. They bet on a leopard in the first round? And it's the smallest leopard. They're really fucking crazy. If there's even a little leopard in this round, I'll believe it. Good bet. Good bet. The earlier we eliminate 2, the higher our chances of becoming the king of gambling. This is a good thing. Facing everyone's ridicule and discussion, Qin Feng acted as if he did not hear it, leisurely hugging Leah and waiting for the dealer to start counting. Leah had seen Qin Feng's gambling skills before, so she had a lot of trust in Qin Feng. Seeing that everyone was questioning Qin Feng, Leah was not as calm as Qin Feng. She angrily pulled a long face and looked like she wanted to jump onto the table and reason with everyone. The 10 people at the table had already placed their bets. 2 of them had forfeited, and the points of those who forfeited would not change. The dealer's hands fell, and he was about to reveal the number of points for this round. Everyone's gaze fell on the dealer's hand, and their hearts instantly rose to their throats. When the box was opened, 3 bright red dice lined up in a row. This scene caused everyone to be dumbstruck, and their faces were filled with disbelief. Humph, did you see that? My man bet 3 points, so it's 3 points. Who was the one who mocked my man earlier? You guys are the funny ones. When Leah saw that it was really 3 points, she was so excited that she danced with joy. Today, she appeared as Qin Feng's girlfriend. This role was very serious, and she kept saying my man, which made Qin Feng feel very satisfied. The people who mocked Qin Feng just now were instantly silent. They all felt that it was strange. He actually got 3 points. This round had already ended. Qin Feng and Leah bet on the leopard, and each received 3 points. The 2 of them had 8 points, and they only needed to win 2 more points to advance. Each game could only be played once, so Qin Feng's table of people all went to find other tables dejectedly. Just as Qin Feng and Leah were about to change tables, Ao Wuchang and Ao Shaowan happened to pass by. When they saw Qin Feng had won 8 points in such a short time, Ao Wuchang was shocked. He didn't expect brother Qin Feng to be a gambling expert. Ao Shaowan secretly clenched his fists at Qin Feng and made a little girl cheering him on, scaring Qin Feng into turning around and running away. Qin Feng pulled Leah and sat down on another card table, and the dealer began to deal the cards. The rules of this table were that everyone bet 1 point, and then according to the size of the cards, the 3 players in front of the cards would get 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point respectively. The remaining players would directly deduct 1 point. The dealer's hand speed was very fast, and the action of shuffling and dealing was done in one go. The players at this table were also very nervous, and some of their hands were trembling as they held the cards. From the beginning to the end, Qin Feng had a leisurely look. Those who didn't know would think that he was here for a vacation. Chapter 746. Soon, everyone's 3 cards were dealt out. Everyone began to show their cards. Qin Feng gave Leah a look, and Leah immediately flipped over their cards excitedly. As Leah expected, Qin Feng had the highest card in this round, so he obtained 3 points. She had the second highest card, so she obtained 2 points. At this time, Qin Feng's total points had reached 11 points, and Leah had exactly 10 points. Both of them had reached the standard to advance to the intermediate tournament. Congratulations on successfully advancing to the intermediate tournament. Please take your admission tickets and go to the second floor to prepare for the next round. The dealer gave Qin Feng and Leah a golden card each. Under the envious and jealous gazes of all the contestants, Qin Feng hugged Leah and swaggered up to the second floor. Fuck. Someone advanced to the intermediate tournament so quickly? Look, isn't that the 2 people who played dice with us just now? Sigh. This person is obviously a gambling expert. How good would it have been if I had bet with him in the previous round? As soon as Qin Feng and Leah advanced, the broadcast in the hall on the first floor started. The contestants who were competing had different expressions. Even Ao Wucheng and Ao Shaowan were shocked when they heard the news. The competition on the first floor was still in full swing. Qin Feng and Leah had already arrived at the second floor. So far, only Qin Feng and Leah had advanced. Logically speaking, the 2 of them could also start the game. But Qin Feng said that he would wait for a few more people to come up before starting the game. Naturally, the dealer followed Qin Feng's wishes. After waiting for a while, the originally empty inner hall on the second floor was gradually filled with more than 10 people. These contestants who came up later would seriously size up Qin Feng and Leah. Everyone was very surprised by Qin Feng and Leah's speed of advancement. They thought to themselves, when did China have such powerful gambling experts? When they saw that Qin Feng and Leah were both new faces, these international gambling experts were even more puzzled. They had never heard of these 2 people in the international gambling world. At this time, Ao Wucheng and Ao Shaowan had already arrived at the second floor. Seeing that there were many people gathered on the second floor, Ao Wucheng gave the head dealer a look, and the dealer immediately walked up. Everyone, you are all contestants who have successfully advanced to the intermediate tournament. Now, everyone will be divided into 4 groups. Each group will have 4 people, and the designated card competition will begin. As soon as the dealer finished speaking, everyone began to split up quickly. Qin Feng and Leah naturally stood on the same team. Ao Shaowan knew Leah's identity, but when he saw Leah holding Qin Feng's arm and not letting go, Ao Shaowan's mouth was also very stubborn. Chinese kid, I heard that you're the first contestant to advance. I'm really curious about your gambling skills. Don't let me down later. There were also 2 foreign men standing in Qin Feng's group. Both of them had blonde hair, blue eyes and high noses. Both of them spoke fluent Chinese. It seemed like they had lived in China for a long time. Xiaofeng, these 2 people are known as the unrivaled heroes in the gambling world. The tall one is called Fred, and the short one is Parker Chong. They are practically inseparable, and they always come to the table together when they gamble. The 2 of them are ranked 3rd in the country in gambling, and they are very strong. Leah had done some research in the gambling world, so she immediately recognized Fred and Parker Chong. Seeing that the 2 of them were standing in the same team as her, Leah's eyebrows knitted tightly. She was truly worried for Qin Feng. Seeing the invincible hero's arrogant and disdainful expressions, Qin Feng smiled. Haha, I didn't expect the 2 of you to be the famous invincible heroes in the international gambling world. Freon and Beetle are very famous. Hearing Qin Feng's praise, Fred and Parker Chong raised their heads and puffed out their chests. Instantly, they became even more arrogant. At least you know what's good for you, kid. I'm not bragging, but the gambling skills of Beetle and I in China. Fred patted his chest and proudly boasted. Halfway through his sentence, he abruptly stopped. Motherfucker, did you do it on purpose, kid? My name is Fred, and my brother is Parker Chong. Do you know how to pronounce it? If you don't know, don't blindly compare yourself. Fred finally realized what was wrong. Qin Feng had changed their names so badly that they didn't even look like them. Leah had stayed with Qin Feng for a period of time. She knew Qin Feng too well. Leah believed that Qin Feng must have called the invincible heroes names wrongly on purpose. Leah couldn't help but giggle. However, Qin Feng's face was solemn. He looked at the invincible heroes with a deadpan expression and said, "Ha? Aren't you guys called Freon and Beetle? What did I say wrong?" The invincible heroes looked at Qin Feng's serious attitude. For a moment, they couldn't tell if this kid was doing it on purpose, or if he really didn't understand. Fred shouted angrily, "What you said is wrong. Don't mispronounce it." Qin Feng said disapprovingly, "If it's wrong, then it's wrong. Anyway, you foreigners' names are very hard to pronounce. It's normal to pronounce one or two words wrongly. Don't mind it." The corners of Fred's and Parker Chong's mouths twitched. They didn't know what to say. Actually, Qin Feng was right. It was easy to pronounce foreigners' names wrongly when translated into Chinese. However, Qin Feng's pronunciation was too good. Freon was something that created ozone, and Beetle couldn't be looked at directly. What the hell was this? Leah looked at the invincible heroes' green faces and felt extremely pleased. She also couldn't stand their arrogant attitude just now. This was China's Hong Kong. What were you being so arrogant for? Not long after, the four teams had been divided. Everyone followed the dealer and sat down at a few tables in the inner hall. Qin Feng sat in a row with Leah, facing Fred and Parker Chong. Earlier, Qin Feng had mispronounced their names, so the two of them harbored resentment in their hearts. Now, as they looked at the shuttlecock card table in front of them, their eyes flashed with evil smiles. This was the gambling game that they were best at. Wuxia rookie. I don't care what method you use to advance to the intermediate division. But now that you've met us, the invincible heroes, your gambling career will end here today. Just as he sat down, Fred looked at Qin Feng playfully. Parker Chong didn't put Qin Feng in his eyes at all. His gaze fell on Leah's perky chest, and he began to size it up with a vulgar expression. Leah saw Parker Chong's malicious gaze and angrily hugged Qin Feng's arm tightly. She used Qin Feng's arm to press against her chest to block her view. I didn't expect to meet the two of you in the intermediate division. It's my bad luck." Qin Feng didn't care about Fred's provocative words. Instead, he showed that he agreed with what they said. Fred and Parker Chong were slightly stunned, then they laughed complacently. "Haha, at least you know what's good for you. Don't worry, we won't let you lose too badly later." Fred and Parker Chong obviously didn't put Qin Feng and Leah in their eyes. They felt that the reason why Qin Feng and Leah were the first to advance to the intermediate division was completely due to luck. After all, the invincible heroes were ranked third in the international gambling world. Why would they care about Qin Feng and Leah, who had no reputation at all? Leah was choked with anger by their arrogance, especially their malicious gazes. It made Leah want to jump on the table and stomp on them. "Darling, how can you say that? Your gambling skills are also very good. I believe that those two bastards are no match for you. You must help them, teach them a lesson." Leah hugged Qin Feng's arm tightly and started to act like a spoiled child. Her coquettish voice with a Hong Kong accent almost melted Fred and Parker Chong's bones. Qin Feng extended his hand and touched Leah's long thigh. Leah was wearing a short red cheongsam today. Her collar was also low, revealing a large portion of her body. She really captivated the invincible heroes. Seeing Qin Feng's big hand and scrupulously touching Leah's long thigh, the invincible heroes also extended their hands and touched each other's thigh, trying to find the feeling they imagined. Slap. Suddenly, Qin Feng slapped Leah's beautiful thigh. 5 red marks immediately appeared on Leah's snow-white skin. Leah was so angry that she gritted her teeth. "You stinking woman, what nonsense are you talking about? How can I be a match for the invincible heroes? As long as the invincible heroes don't let me lose too badly, I'll thank the heavens and earth. Aren't you mocking me?" Qin Feng was like a completely different person. He had no fighting spirit at all. Leah pouted and glared at Qin Feng, looking like she wanted to bite Qin Feng to death. Fred and Parker Chong stared at Leah's beautiful thigh that was slapped red. Their hearts itched as if they were being scratched by a cat. They were complaining in their hearts that such a beautiful and weak woman should be taken good care of and satisfied. How could he hit her? Cough cough. Brat, you're getting better and better. Not bad, not bad. Fred was very satisfied with Qin Feng's performance. After Parker Chang's gaze fell on Leah, he could not take his eyes off her. For the sake of this beauty, I won't let you lose too badly. Leah's attire today was simply too sexy. Even the dealer was stunned by Leah's beauty. Everyone, can we begin? The dealer regained his senses with great difficulty and hurriedly asked. Qin Feng and the other three nodded, and the competition officially began. The dealer's gambling skills on the second floor were clearly superior, and the shuffling of the cards was also endless. With a wave of rhythmic crashing sounds, both sides had finished dealing their trump cards and the first open card. Sir, your side has the bigger cards. Please speak first. The dealer looked towards Qin Feng. The card was slightly bigger than Qin Feng's. The competition in the intermediate division was also played using points. Only when it came to the final competition for the king of gambling would they use real chips to fight. Qin Feng did not even look at the card table. His big hand reached under Leah's qipao and touched it. Leah was already angry at Qin Feng, so she jumped in fright. Xiao Feng, what are you doing? Leah glared at Qin Feng angrily. Chapter 747. Leah also didn't know what Qin Feng was thinking. Seeing Qin Feng suddenly become like this, Leah stomped her feet in anger. Leah stood at the side, revealing her perfect and mysterious body. Fred and Parker looked at her until their eyeballs almost wanted to stick onto Leah's body, drooling all over the table. Seeing the two of them like pigs, Qin Feng laughed in his heart. Qin Feng naturally had his own plans. These two invincible heroes were the third-ranked gambling experts in the world, and Qin Feng now had a high-level gambling skill. Although he could win against them, it would not be that easy for him to win, and it would definitely take up a lot of Qin Feng's time and energy. And this time, the Gambling King competition was not only a competition of gambling skills, but also a competition of time. Whoever advanced from the intermediate stage could continue to compete in the ultimate competition of the Gambling King. Qin Feng could tell that the invincible heroes were perverts, so he purposely played intimate with Leah in front of them. Now that the two of them had successfully been distracted by Qin Feng, the invincible heroes were no longer in the mood to gamble. Their souls were hooked away by Leah's every move. Seeing that Qin Feng and Leah's partners suddenly had a conflict, the dealer had no choice but to temporarily stop dealing cards. Who wants to be intimate with you? You can't even bet against the two of them. What use do I have for you? Leah did not know of Qin Feng's plan, and was about to be angered to death by Qin Feng. Pow! A crisp sound came out from Leah's perky, but without any warning. Immediately, an electric shock like numbness spread throughout Leah's body, and she was so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole to hide herself in. You stinking woman! How dare you speak to your man like that? I think you're asking for a beating. Sit down obediently. Qin Feng pulled Leah to his side and sat down. Leah had a stomach full of resentment and nowhere to vent it, so she obediently nestled in Qin Feng's embrace. Because Leah knew that she couldn't beat Qin Feng, she was afraid that if she lost her temper, she would be humiliated even more miserably by Qin Feng. Gulp! The sound of Fred and Parker swallowing their saliva could be heard from the other side. When they saw Qin Feng slap Leah's butt, the two of them had a reaction. Fred and Parker couldn't help but secretly slap each other's buttocks. Tsk, that feeling was simply indescribable. Ahem. Everyone, can we continue to deal the cards? The dealer was left to the side and almost became air. Qin Feng waved his hand and signaled for the dealer to continue dealing. Fred and Parker didn't even look at the dealer. Their gazes were fixed on Leah's long legs, and they didn't plan to look away. The dealer was helpless against these people. Were they here to pick up girls, or to participate in the King of Gambling competition? In a fit of anger, the dealer didn't ask for Qin Feng's and the others' opinions. With a swish, he dealt out the remaining 3 cards. Mister, your cards are bigger, please speak. The dealer rolled his eyes at Qin Feng in annoyance. Qin Feng was hugging Leah and playing happily. At this time, he indifferently swept his gaze over the cards on the table and sighed. AI. What fun was there in front of the invincible hero duo? I'm definitely going to lose this round. I'm going to bet my 11 points and my woman's 10 points. I'm going to lose everything in one go. If I lose a few more rounds later, I'll lose a lot of face. Qin Feng had an indifferent attitude and bet all his points on it. Leah kept a straight face and ignored Qin Feng, allowing Qin Feng to touch her legs. Fred and Parker moved their gazes away from Leah with great difficulty and glanced at the 4 cards on the table. The 2 of them had already memorized these cards. This time, their 4 cards were exactly the same as in their memories. The 2 of them looked at Qin Feng's cards, which were also arranged in the same order as in their memories. The invincible hero duo sneered. Now, it seemed that Qin Feng really didn't change his cards. He planned to directly admit defeat this round. The invincible hero duo no longer had any misgivings in their hearts. According to their memories, their trump card was a Jack of Hearts, a pair with the Jack of Spades, which was directly bigger than Qin Feng's card. Haha, you're not bad. I like it very much. Since you've already bet your points, then both of us will also bet 20 points. Let's directly reveal our cards. Fred looked at Qin Feng proudly, as if victory was already in his grasp. Alright, the 2 titans of the gambling world are indeed straightforward. Then, let's directly reveal our cards. I'm going to lose this round anyway, Qin Feng said indifferently. Both of them had bet their points. The dealer looked at the invincible hero duo and said, both of you have small cards. Please reveal your cards first. Parker was too lazy to look at his trump card. He continued to stare at Leah. Fred also casually reached out his hand and picked his trump card. After picking, he didn't even look at his card. It was as if he didn't care what his trump card was. Both of you have 3 of hearts as your trump card. Now, sir, please reveal your cards. The dealer's voice came out. Fred and Parker instinctively nodded. In the next second, their bodies suddenly froze. They hurriedly looked at the trump card on the table. When they saw that the original Jack of Hearts had turned into a little 3, the invincible hero duo's eyeballs almost fell out. Sigh. I don't even want to reveal this trump card anymore. Once I reveal it, I'm doomed to lose. Qin Feng acted as if he didn't see the invincible hero duo's astonished expression. Before the 2 could react, Qin Feng waved his hand and revealed his trump card. Seeing the Jack of Hearts revealed, the dealer was slightly stunned. However, he quickly announced the result. This gentleman and madam's trump card is the Jack of Hearts. This round, the gentleman and madam on this side win. This round, the dealer shuffled the cards. He was the clearest about both sides' trump cards and their cards. The Jack of Hearts obviously belonged to the invincible hero duo. Now that it was on Qin Feng's side, it meant that Qin Feng had cheated. However, the dealer didn't dare to say anything because he didn't even notice when Qin Feng had cheated. Those who could cheat under the dealer's eyes were obviously true experts in the gambling world. The dealer didn't have the authority to question them. Motherfucker, you dare to cheat? This Jack of Hearts is obviously our trump card. This little 3 of hearts is your fucking trump card. You're changing your cards. Fred and Parker finally came back to their senses. They immediately felt as if they had eaten shit. No matter how stupid the invincible hero duo was, they now understood that the Chinese man on the other side had been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Just now, he deliberately teased the Chinese beauty to distract them. But in the end, this brat actually secretly changed his cards. Knowing that they had been tricked, Fred and Parker were extremely angry. They directly slammed the table and stood up, pointing at Qin Feng and roaring. Qin Feng sat on the chair without changing his expression. He didn't care about the 2's doubts at all. Leah was stunned for a long time before she finally regained her senses. Seeing that her side had actually won, Leah instantly understood Qin Feng's intentions. Wow. Darling, you're great, we won again. Leah suddenly hugged Qin Feng and shook him. Her full chest swayed along with him, causing Qin Feng's eyes to blur. You stinking woman. So you were acting with him just now to seduce us. You Chinese people are too shameless. This round can't be counted as their win. They cheated. The invincible hero duo angrily quarreled with Leah. and even raised the opinion of questioning Qin Feng's cheating to the dealer. The commotion here was very loud, attracting the attention of the players at the next table. Ao Wuchang and Ao Shaowan had been staying on the second floor the whole time, and they had already walked over quickly. What's going on? Ao Wuchang had a dignified expression as he stared at the invincible hero duo and roared. Ao Shaowan, on the other hand, pouted. Seeing the scene of Li Ye and Qin Feng hugging each other intimately, this young miss was very unhappy. Division leader Wuchang, we suspect that they cheated. Seeing Ao Wuchang coming over, the invincible hero duo became even more arrogant. Did you guys lose this round? Ao Wuchang acted as if he didn't hear the doubts of the two and asked. We didn't lose. It was because he cheated that we lost. Fred quickly explained. Ao Wuchang said impatiently, then we lost. The corners of Fred and Parker's mouth twitched. They wondered if there was something wrong with the Hong Sect's division leader's comprehension ability. We lost this round, but because the opponent cheated. Fred wanted to continue explaining to Ao Wuchang. But before he could finish his sentence, Ao Wuchang interrupted him coldly. Since you guys have lost, then you are disqualified from the tournament. Please don't make a ruckus here and disturb the other contestants. Otherwise, I won't be so polite anymore. The invincible hero duo's mouth twitched. Is this Hong Sect's division leader retarded? Why can't he understand human language? Qin Feng knew that Ao Wuchang was trying to help him, but he was very confident in his gambling skills. He did change the cards, but he did it so fast that he didn't leave any traces. Division leader Wuchang, are you trying to cover up for us? Didn't you say that the casino of Vientiane is absolutely fair, just and open? Now that I suspect that the opponent cheated, are you going to let us go just like that? The invincible hero duo was completely infuriated. They no longer cared about Ao Wuchang's influence in Hong Kong. Ao Wuchang was put in a difficult position. He secretly glanced at Qin Feng, and Qin Feng immediately said, Division leader Wuchang, since these foreigners are not satisfied with their loss, why don't you show them the video of our game, and let them accept their defeat wholeheartedly? Seeing Qin Feng's confident look, Ao Wuchang nodded. The dealer who was in charge of Qin Feng's game immediately retreated. A few moments later, the dealer took out a copy of the video and plugged it into a laptop. The video was the game between Qin Feng and the invincible hero duo. The video quality was very high. Everyone watched it from the beginning to the end and found nothing unusual. Chapter 748. The invincible heroes were dumbfounded. They watched the video carefully, but they couldn't see when Qin Feng changed his cards. After coming back to his senses, Fred said nervously, I want to watch the video again at 10 times slower. Ao Wuchang was already a little unhappy. He glared at Fred and said, What kind of speed is 10 times slower? It takes 2 hours to finish watching. Are these two contestants going to wait here for 2 hours? That's impossible. Ao Wuchang firmly refused the request of the invincible heroes. This time, the invincible heroes had nothing to say. However, the invincible heroes were unwilling to let it go, because they were sure that Qin Feng had changed his trump card. Otherwise, how could the Jack of Hearts become the Three of Hearts? How about this? Parker and I will watch the video here, and let them continue the competition. If the video shows that these two people cheated, then they will be disqualified immediately. Fred quickly thought of a new method. Ao Wuchang didn't agree directly, but secretly glanced at Qin Feng. All right, then let's do as Freon and the reptile say. Qin Feng said indifferently. Freon? Reptile? The people in the hall on the second floor were stunned. They didn't understand what Qin Feng was talking about. The invincible heroes were ranked third in the gambling world in the country. Which contestant didn't know the two of them? Soon, the quiet hall burst into laughter. Everyone finally understood Qin Feng's joke. Qin Feng was probably the only one who dared to joke like this in front of the invincible heroes. You wait. I will definitely find evidence of you changing cards. The invincible heroes were fuming with anger, but they didn't dare to act recklessly in the casino of Vientiane. They could only suppress their anger and continue watching the video. Qin Feng ignored the two of them and walked to the third floor with Leah in his arms. The final competition for the King of Gambling would be held in the Super VIP room on the third floor. There were a total of 5 people selected for the King of Gambling. Qin Feng and Leah were obviously the first 2 to advance. When the news of Qin Feng and Leah's advancement sounded on the radio, all the contestants in the casino of Vientiane were in an uproar. Qin Feng and Leah's speed was simply too fast. At this time, there were still a few hundred competitors in the hall on the first floor, trying their best to enter the intermediate division. And in the intermediate division on the second floor, there were also 40 to 50 people fighting to advance to the position of the Gambling King. In the lounge on the second floor, Wei Tianhao and Honda leaned on the sofa and looked at the LCD screen on the wall. The screen was showing the matches on the first and second floor. Haha, Lord Honda, we really bet on the right people this time. This Xiao Feng didn't disappoint us. Wei Tianhao was so excited that he jumped up when he found out that Qin Feng and Leah had successfully advanced to become a candidate for the Gambling King. Honda's expression didn't change, but he was actually very excited. Honda originally planned to let Ghost Stealing Jun and Second Master he participate in the King of Gambling tournament. However, Ghost Stealing Jun betrayed him and ran away. Second Master He's gambling skills were not good enough in the international gambling world. Now that Xiao Feng had broken out of the encirclement, Honda was pleasantly surprised. At the end of the day, this brat is still a member of the Dragon Sect. Otherwise, I can keep him by my side and nurture him. A cold glint flashed in Honda's eyes. Wei Tianhao's tone also turned cold. I wonder what the higher-ups of the Dragon Sect are thinking. The blue dragon has been captured, and they still dare to send people here? They are simply seeking death. Who cares what the Dragon Sect is thinking? After Xiao Feng helps us launder the black money, we'll find a chance to kill him. After Honda finished speaking, he added, and that Leah, get rid of him as well. The Hong Kong police are also very stupid. Wei Tianhao and Honda looked at each other. Both of them had a wretched smile in their eyes. Seeing that the plan was progressing smoothly, they felt like they had everything planned out. It was as if Qin Feng and the others were chess pieces in their hands, and their lives were at their mercy. Qin Feng and Leah had already arrived at the Super VIP room on the third floor. There was a standard shuttlecock card game in the room. It seemed like the final King of Gambling tournament would be a shuttlecock card game. At this time, the casino of Vientiane's broadcast rang again. Congratulations to Second Master He and Traceless for successfully advancing to the next round and becoming the 2 candidates for the Gambling King. Now there is only 1 candidate left. Participants, please hurry up. Not long after the broadcast ended, 2 silhouettes entered the Super VIP room on the third floor. Second Master He was wearing a long black robe that covered his hands and feet. It seemed like he had prepared this outfit for the tournament for the convenience of changing and hiding his cards. The person who entered the room with Second Master, he was a skinny Chinese man in his early 40s. He was dressed in a black suit, and his face was as bony as a monkey's. I don't need to tell you about Second Master He. You fought him at the Billionaire Club. Traceless is very powerful. He's the current number 1 in the international gambling world. He's from Hong Kong. Rumor has it that he changes his cards as fast as lightning and leaves no trace behind. Hence, he's named Traceless. Once the 2 of them entered the house, Leah whispered into Qin Feng's ear and told him about their situation. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Traceless and started to size her up. Traceless was also sizing Qin Feng up with interest. Wei Tianhao and Master Honda had planned this from the very beginning. They knew that Traceless, the number 1 in the international gambling world, would definitely participate in today's tournament. Traceless' gambling skills were godly, and her assets were uncountable. This time, Honda's target was Traceless. He wanted to launder as much money as possible from Traceless. There were a total of 4 people present. Xiao Feng had been invited by Honda and Second Master. He was also on Honda's side. For this bet, Honda had purposely sent Second Master He to Traceless's side. Then, with Xiao Feng's superb gambling skills, they would have a high chance of winning against Traceless. Gentlemen, do you want to compete now? Or do you want to wait for the last candidate to appear? The dealer in the super VIP room was the casino of Vientiane. He was asking for Qin Feng and the other's opinion. I'm fine with anything. Qin Feng waved his hand nonchalantly. I think it's better to start now. That way, we'll have one less competitor, second master, he said. Leah obviously had the same opinion as Qin Feng. Now, everyone was waiting for Traceless to speak. He is right. Let's start then. Traceless didn't hesitate and suggested the start of the tournament. Seeing that everyone wanted to start now, the dealer opened a brand new box of poker cards and began to shuffle the cards. The poker cards in the hands of the gold dealer seemed to have a life of their own and were played with in all kinds of cool ways. Qin Feng and the other two obviously did not care about these fancy tricks, but Leah was dumbstruck. Whoosh! After the cards were shuffled, the dealer opened his hand, and a deck of cards was neatly arranged on the square table. Who would like to cut the cards first? The dealer asked. Ladies first. Qin Feng smiled. Second master, he and Traceless didn't have any objections. Leah pushed the card cutter onto the cards that favored her and Qin Feng. The tournament was still ongoing. Wei Tianhao and Honda could see everything clearly from the LCD screen in the resting room. The second floor and the first floor were also broadcasting Qin Feng's final match. Many of the contestants felt that they had no hope, so they gave up on the tournament and joined everyone else in watching a real battle between experts. The atmosphere in the super VIP room was cold, and the four of them didn't speak. Other than Qin Feng, who had a mischievous smile on his face, Leah, second master he, and Traceless were all expressionless. The dealer had already dealt the first card and the first card. Among the four of them, Qin Feng's card was the biggest. Mr. Qiao, please speak first. The dealer looked towards Qin Feng. In front of the four of them, there were 100 million chips. These chips were bought by the four of them with real money. Qin Feng, Leah and second master He's chips were all bought by Honda. Qin Feng didn't feel any heartache about the money at all, and with a light push of his hand, a row of chips landed in the middle of the table. Just a small bet, 10 million. Qin Feng's opening bid of 10 million caused the spectators on the first floor to cry out in surprise. As expected, this was a true rich person. Was 10 million just $100 in their eyes? Leah was shocked, but she quickly regained her senses. This money was all black money from the island nation's Yamaguchi-gumi, and her and Qin Feng's mission today was to throw all of this black money in. And when the time came, Wuchang would take the black money away. I'll follow 10 million. Leah didn't care about what cards she had, and directly threw money at it. Leah's actions once again caused an uproar in the hall on the first floor. This was the fucking way of playing cards, by an international gambling expert. Just looking at it made one feel good. 10 million. Second master, he was expressionless as he followed with 10 million. Traceless hesitated for a moment, then chuckled and threw the cards onto the table. Everyone is really generous. I'll give up my seat. Fuck, why did this guy throw his cards? Wei Tianhao and Honda, who were in the lounge on the second floor, gritted their teeth in anger when they saw this scene. It can't be. Traceless actually threw his cards. He's Hong Kong's #1 fast hand, and he's also the #1 expert in the international gambling world. It's said that he doesn't leave a trace when he changes cards. The hall on the first floor was also in an uproar. Everyone clearly couldn't understand Traceless's actions. Of the four people in the super VIP room, everyone knew Traceless and second master he. Qin Feng and Leah were obviously new faces, and not many people in the hall on the first floor knew them. Compared to Traceless and second master he. Second master, he was obviously a few levels lower than Traceless. If even second master he dared to play, why would Traceless throw her cards? The world of experts was always unpredictable to ordinary people. Qin Feng's side of the game was still going on. 20 million. The dealer's second card had already been dealt, but Qin Feng still looked indifferent. He didn't even look at his cards, but his chips doubled. Chapter 749. Qin Feng and Leah both placed their chips on the table. Second master he hesitated slightly, then followed. The dealer continued to deal the cards. This time, the third and fourth cards were dealt at the same time. I'm a little sleepy after playing for the whole morning. Shuttletoad, hurry up and finish playing and go back to sleep. Qin Feng stretched and pushed all the chips on the table in. The hall on the first floor immediately exploded. Wei Tianhao and Honda, who were leaning on the sofa in the lounge on the second floor, jumped up in shock. Fuck, what's this idiot doing? We're all on the same side. Why the hell is he playing Shuttletoad? Wei Tianhao cursed angrily. Honda's face was also cold, but he didn't say anything. Shuttletoad. Leah was even more direct. Qin Feng pushed his chips out, and she hurriedly followed, as if the chips would burn her hands if she kept them by her side. I'm Shuttletoad too. Second Master He's expression didn't change, and all the chips in front of him were placed on the table. Traceless sat at the side and watched the game with interest. No one knew what she was thinking. The dealer was shocked by this bet. This was 300 million, and these people were throwing it in at any moment. These rich people were too capricious. Qin Feng and the others were already Shuttletoad, so the dealer indicated for Second Master he to open his cards first. Before Second Master he even opened his cards, the hall on the first floor had already sunk into a deathly silence. The sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. This scene was very interesting. It was as if they were playing this game. These people were even more nervous than Qin Feng and the others. Second Master he swung his skinny old hand, and his cards were already on the table. Then, Leah flipped her cards and Qin Feng flipped his cards. This round Mr. Chiao wins. The dealer looked at the three people's cards and announced the result of this round. Qin Feng won 200 million in a few minutes, but his expression didn't change at all. Leah and Second Master he lost 100 million, but they felt like they lost $100. They didn't even blink. 300 million worth of chips were placed in front of Qin Feng, and they formed 3 small mountains. May I ask if Miss Li and Mr. He still want to exchange chips and continue the competition? The dealer looked at Leah and Second Master He and asked. The last round of the Gambling King tournament didn't require points. It was a competition of who had more money. During the tournament, the contestants could buy chips without limit until they ran out of money and announced their withdrawal from the tournament. Another 100 million. Leah and Second Master He spoke at the same time without even thinking. Wei Tianhao stood in the resting room on the second floor and stomped his feet in anger. He took out his phone and made a call, and very quickly, someone sent Leah and Second Master He each 100 million in cash. The game continued. The dealer threw away the deck of cards he had just used and took out a new deck to deal. In the second round, Traceless still did not follow. Qin Feng and the other two continued to Shuttletoads, and in the end Qin Feng won. The game was repeated 10 times, and each time it was the same routine. Everyone in the lobby on the first floor was dumbfounded. Some people even thought that there was something wrong with their brains. Otherwise, there was something wrong with the video. Did the video freeze? What's the meaning of playing that card game over and over again? Wei Tianhao, go and pause the competition. Call Xiao Feng and the others over. I have something to say. Honda, who had endured for a full 10 rounds, couldn't take it anymore. He roared at Wei Tianhao furiously. Traceless didn't follow up in these 10 rounds. Qin Feng and the other two had a good time and lost 2 billion of Honda's dirty money. This time, Honda's dirty money was almost used up. If this continued, Honda would have to send people to the Black Vault to send more money over. Wei Tianhao couldn't stand it anymore. After receiving Master Honda's order, Wei Tianhao immediately went to find Ao Wuchang. Branch Master Wuchang, Master Honda wants to pause the competition. He has something to say to Xiao Feng and the others. Wei Tianhao came to the second floor, walked to Ao Wuchang, and said in a low voice, according to the rules of the previous Gambling King tournament, there is no rule to stop the competition in the middle. Ao Wuchang was watching Qin Feng and the others in the inner hall on the second floor. He rejected Wei Tianhao without even looking at him. Wei Tianhao was infuriated. He had formed a partnership with Ao Wuchang, but Ao Wuchang had ignored him and Master Honda from the beginning to the end. Branch Master Wuchang, What is the meaning of this? We have a cooperative relationship. Wei Tianhao's voice was a little angry. Ao Wuchang finally looked Wei Tianhao in the eye and said, "Go back to the resting room and wait. I will go to the third floor." After saying that, Ao Wuchang brought his sister to the third floor without waiting for Wei Tianhao's permission. The entrance to the third floor was guarded by members of the Hong sect. Other than the candidates of the Gambling King tournament, the rest of the people were barred from entering. However, when Ao Wuchang came up to the third floor, the 8 members of the Hong sect immediately backed away. Ao Wuchang hugged his sister and swaggered into the VIP room. Branch Master Wuchang. As soon as Ao Wuchang entered the room, the dealer was taken aback. He immediately paused the competition and greeted Ao Wuchang. Branch Master Wuchang. They were in Hong Kong, and the Hong sect was the most powerful sect in the world. No one dared to be disrespectful in front of Ao Wuchang. Second Master He and Wu Hen also greeted Ao Wuchang. Ao Wuchang glanced at everyone before discreetly nodding at Qin Fen. Qin Fen seemed to understand Ao Wuchang's meaning, and he also nodded silently. Seeing Qin Feng's action, Ao Wuchang said, "I'm sorry everyone. Your competition will be paused for 10 minutes. You can take a break during this time. I need to pee, so I'm going to the washroom." As soon as Ao Wuchang finished his words, Qin Feng left the room with Li Ya. "I'm going out to take a breather. I've lost 1 billion. Qin Feng also stood up and left after a while. Wu Hen was the only contestant left in the room. Apparently, he had no intention of leaving. He leaned against the leather chair and closed his eyes as if he was sleeping. The hall on the first floor was in an uproar. In previous years, the Hong Kong Gambling King tournament did not have a break in the middle of the tournament. Therefore, Ao Wuchang's sudden suspension of the tournament puzzled everyone. While everyone was discussing and guessing, Qin Feng and Leah had arrived at the lounge on the second floor. Not long after, Second Master He entered the lounge. "Xiao Feng, what the fuck are you doing?" Honda roared at Qin Feng as soon as the 3 of them arrived. Qin Feng looked at Honda carelessly and said, "I didn't do anything. I've been playing cards." "Honda-san, why are you so agitated? You should know that we are partners. I'm different from young Master Wei. I'm not your dog." Qin Feng's words insulted both Honda and Wei Tianhao, especially Wei Tianhao. When he heard Xiao Feng calling him a dog, he was so angry that he almost pounced on Qin Feng and bit him. Honda's eyes, which were half covered by his eyelids, were filled with coldness. It was inevitable that he would be agitated after losing 2 billion. However, he quickly calmed down and looked at Xiao Feng again. "What the hell are you doing? I want you to give me a reasonable explanation. Otherwise, I'll cancel our partnership immediately," Honda said coldly. Qin Feng maintained his cheeky expression and said, "Honda-san, are you out of your mind? Can't you tell? The 3 of us are working together to trick Traceless." "Then I'd like to ask, how did you guys trick Traceless? Up until now, there have been a total of 10 rounds, and Traceless hasn't called a single round. It's all your infighting. You've already spent 2 billion. Is this your so-called scheme?" Honda was so angry that smoke was about to come out of his head. He glared at Qin Feng coldly. Qin Feng curled his lips and looked at Honda disdainfully. "Do you think Traceless is an idiot? If the 3 of us didn't fight, why would she play cards with us? The first 10 rounds were just an act between the 3 of us. Our aim was to confuse Traceless and make her believe that we are not in cahoots. Based on my prediction, from the next round onwards, Traceless will start calling." Qin Feng paused and didn't wait for Honda to retort. He continued, "Moreover, we've already formed a partnership with Division Leader Wuchang. Isn't the money in my hands now? Can the money grow wings and fly away?" Qin Feng's words made sense. Wei Tianhao and Honda couldn't find any words to retort. After a moment of silence, Honda said, "That's true, but the money I brought this time is almost used up. If we continue to play like this, we'll run out of money." Hearing that the black money brought by the Honda was finally going to be used up, Qin Feng and Li Ye's eyes flashed with an imperceptible light. "What? The money is going to run out so soon? Are you kidding me? Then what's the point of playing?" Qin Feng cursed angrily. Honda gritted his teeth in anger. You think 2 billion is too little? Are you kidding me? 2 billion depends on who I'm playing with. It's too little to play with the world's #1 gambler, Traceless. Anyway, I've estimated that I have 30 billion in reserve. Without that, I definitely can't beat Traceless. Qin Feng turned into a scoundrel. It was as if he wouldn't continue to compete if Honda didn't have 30 billion in reserve. Honda and Wei Tianhao were infuriated by Qiao Feng's arrogance, but the money hadn't been laundered yet. They had no choice but to swallow their anger and keep Qiao Feng alive for now. Honda had already returned to the sofa and sat down. He gave Wei Tianhao a look. Wei Tianhao looked at Second Master He and asked, "Uncle He, what do you think?" Second Master He said expressionlessly, "Young Master Wei, Traceless is Hong Kong's #1 quick hitter. I'm much weaker than her. Moreover, she's cunning and sinister. It'll be very difficult to win her money." Second Master He's meaning was clear. It was almost impossible for him to win against Traceless. Chapter 750. There's 1 minute left in the break. The match will begin in 1 minute. Ao Wuchang's voice rang through the speakers. Wei Tianhao and Honda were anxious. "Xiao Feng, I can prepare 30 billion for you. But I hope you can win a lot of money from Traceless. Otherwise you'll regret it." Honda made up his mind after some hesitation. Xiao Feng was the only one who could help Honda win money at this critical juncture. Honda had no other choice. Knowing that Honda was going to the Black Vault to get the money, Qin Feng suppressed his excitement and said, "As long as we have enough money, it won't be difficult to win against Traceless. The three of us are working together. Do you think we can't win against him alone?" "That better be the case." Honda glared at Qin Feng coldly. Honda and Xiao Feng reached an agreement. Honda sent Wei Tianhao to make a call to withdraw the money, while Qin Feng and Leah returned to the VIP room on the 3rd floor. In order to avoid Traceless's suspicion, Honda allowed Second Master He to continue staying in the lounge on the 2nd floor until Qin Feng and Leah had returned to the super VIP room. Second Master He then began to head back. "Can the 4 of you continue the competition?" the dealer asked as he watched Qin Feng and the others take their seats. The 4 of them nodded. The dealer took out a new deck of cards and began the match. Clatter! The dealer had many ways to shuffle the cards. It was already the 11th round, but he had changed the way he shuffled the cards 11 times. Leah's card skills were average, not even worth mentioning in front of international gambling experts like Traceless. She didn't care much about the game. She was most excited when the dealer shuffled the cards. "Mr. Qiao, please speak." Qin Feng still had the biggest cards in this round. Just like before, he pushed 10 million chips onto the table. Leah and Second Master He followed suit. This time, Traceless didn't throw away his cards. He hesitated for a moment before pushing 10 million chips onto the table. "Haha, even though my cards are small, I'm embarrassed that I throw away my cards every round." Seeing that Traceless finally made his move, the hall on the 1st floor erupted into an uproar. In the lounge on the 2nd floor, Wei Tianhao and Honda jumped up in excitement. They had been waiting for Traceless to place her bets. Traceless finally started to follow suit. Once Traceless made her move, she would follow him to the end. This time, the 4 of them threw 100 million yuan at the table to play shuttle clams. The dealer had already let everyone open their cards. The people watching the game outside all held their breath, and their faces flushed with excitement. Pa, Qin Feng, and the other 3 revealed their cards at the same time. The dealer looked around and announced, "Mr. Wu Hen wins this round." Fuck. As expected of the #1 gambling expert in the international gambling world. He's bound to win. The title of Hong Kong's #1 fast hand isn't just for show. Traceless, we all have high hopes for you. The hall on the 1st floor was filled with voices of support for Traceless. After all, Traceless was a local of Hong Kong. More than half of the crowd was also from Hong Kong. "Baka, what's going on? Is there something wrong with Qiao Feng's conscience? Is he trying to scam us?" Honda could no longer remain calm. He jumped up and cursed. Wei Tianhao was afraid that Honda would lose his temper, so he quickly tried to appease him. "Master Honda, Xiao Feng said that he wants to put on a show with Uncle He. He wants Traceless to win a few rounds first, and when Traceless lowers her guard, Xiao Feng will counterattack. Actually, Wei Tianhao had no confidence in Xiao Feng's words. But to calm Honda down, Wei Tianhao had no choice but to say so. That better be the case. If he loses, I'll make him wish he was dead. Honda's face was contorted, and the veins on his forehead were bulging. The game was still going on. Ever since the break in the middle, Traceless would follow every round to the end. Leah and Second Master. He also played Shuttle Toad as usual. The four of them threw in 100 million worth of chips, and every time the cards were opened, Traceless was the biggest. It was as if they had returned to the previous break. Before the break, Traceless would not follow, and Qin Feng would win every round. After the break, Traceless would follow, and Qin Feng would win every round. The spectators in the hall on the first floor had long been dumbfounded. Was this the game of a real gambling expert? It was as if Traceless knew the outcome of the game from the beginning, and everything was under her control. Qin Feng and his companions lost every round, and each round cost them 300 million. They had lost 10 rounds in a row, and they had already lost 3 billion. No matter how patient Honda was, they couldn't bear to watch it any longer. Bakiaro, stop. I want to stop. Get that bastard Xiao Feng over here right now. I want to kill him with my own hands. Honda lost 3 billion yuan in less than an hour. Even if it was dirty money, Honda was still enraged. Wei Tianhao was so scared that he ran out of his room to look for Ao Wuchang. The speed at which they were losing money made Wei Tianhao lose confidence. Leader Wuchang B. Master Honda wants to take a 10-minute break, Wei Tianhao said as he walked to Ao Wuchang's side. Break again? Are you guys crazy? There are so many people watching the King of Gambling tournament. How can you ask for a break in the middle of the tournament? Ao Wuchang rolled his eyes at Wei Tianhao, and Wei Tianhao trembled in fear. But you've seen it yourself. Xiao Feng and the others are losing too much. If they continue to play like this, the tournament will be ruined, and we won't be able to make any money. Wei Tianhao tried to persuade Ao Wuchang. Fuck. This is so annoying. Wait here. I'll go to the third floor and check it out. Ao Wuchang glared at Wei Tianhao impatiently. Then he hugged his sister and went to the third floor. When the audience saw Leader Wuchang reappeared in the VIP room, they guessed that he was going to take a break again. Sure enough, a short while later, the broadcast announced that the tournament would be suspended for 10 minutes. Once again, the three of them gathered in the lounge on the second floor. Honda gritted his teeth when he saw Xiao Feng. He roared, Baka. How dare you fool me, you little bastard? Didn't you say you could win? You've lost 10 rounds in a row, and my 3 billion yuan is gone just like that. Anyone who lost 3 billion yuan would be furious. Qin Feng smiled and said, Honda-san, why are you so impatient? Didn't you just lose 3 billion yuan? It's not a big deal. Fuck, 3 billion yuan isn't yours. Of course you don't care. 3 billion yuan? Do you think it's 300 yuan? Honda was already furious. When he heard Qin Feng's words, he almost vomited blood. It's 3 billion yuan. That's not a lot. Leah, do you think 3 billion yuan is a lot? Qin Feng looked at Leah seriously. Leah was about to burst into laughter, but she held it in and said with a serious expression, 3 billion yuan is a lot? I don't think it's a lot. Wei Tianhao and Honda almost fainted when they saw Qin Feng and Leah putting on a show. Don't talk nonsense. I'm just asking you, can you beat Traceless? If you can't, I won't go easy on you. Honda had lost his patience with Xiao Feng. If Xiao Feng lost again, he would kill Xiao Feng to vent his anger. Qin Feng saw the murderous look in Honda's eyes. He smiled and said, Honda-san, I told you before to prepare at least 30 billion yuan as a reserve. I purposely lost 3 billion to Traceless to make her lower her guard. It's about time for me to go easy on her. I'll start winning money in the next round. But I hope you won't stop the game for no reason. It will arouse Traceless suspicion. If your money laundering plan fails because of you, Honda-san, don't blame me. Honda was speechless. He didn't know if Xiao Feng was telling the truth or not. After arguing for a while, Qin Feng and the other two returned to the VIP room. Everyone sat in their seats, and the game started again. At the same time, in an abandoned temple next to Hong Kong's Wanlong Temple, 4 ninjas in black suits ran out with 2 black bags in their hands. As soon as they walked out of the temple, the 4 of them were stunned. In front of them stood a sexy beauty in a black leather suit. Idiot! What are you doing? The 4 ninjas sensed Yan Wushuang's murderous aura. They dropped the bags in their hands and drew their katana from their backs. Slap! Yan Wushuang was ruthless. She never wasted time in a fight. As soon as the Japanese ninjas drew their katana, the sound of a dozen whips reverberated in the air. The shadows of the whips fell like a curtain and pierced through the air above the 4 ninjas. The 4 ninjas' expressions changed drastically. 2 of them dodged the whips while the other 2 were too slow. The whips struck them and turned them into a bloody mess. Are you a Chinese martial artist? Idiot! How dare you kill our Japanese warrior? You're dead. Yan Wushuang's whips killed 2 of the genin ninjas. The other 2 ninjas' eyes were filled with fear. However, the ninjas trained by Yamaguchi Gumi were the same as the Suicide Squad. In front of the enemy, they would either be killed or kill the enemy. One of the ninjas leaped into the air and spun the katana in his hand rapidly. The air was filled with the sound of an explosion, and the ferocious aura of the katana was aimed at Yan Wushuang's head. Swoosh! Swoosh! Yan Wushuang did not hesitate. Her perfect body moved quickly. She was like an elusive ghost in the night. She changed her position several times in the blink of an eye. The katana hit the ground and created a deep trench. Yan Wushuang took advantage of the gap and took out 2 flying daggers from her boots. One of the flying daggers was knocked away by the ninja's katana, while the other pierced through the throat of the genin ninja. The ninja fell to the ground, and a pool of blood flowed out from his body. Yan Wushuang killed 3 ninjas as fast as she could. She stood in the dark, panting slightly. Her beautiful eyes scanned the surroundings quickly, but she could not find the 4th ninja's trace. Chapter 751. Yan Wushuang had found the Yamaguchi Gumi's second black gold vault in Hong Kong. It was located at the bottom of the North Mountain. Lia's boss brought a group of people to the scene. After a fierce battle between the Hong Kong police and Wei Tianhao's underlings, the police killed all the gangsters and found the 3rd black gold vault. The Yamaguchi Gumi had built 3 secret black gold vaults in Hong Kong, and all of them had been found. The black money in the Wanlong Temple and the North Mountain Cave was more than the black gold vault in the abandoned factory in Shan District. Yan Wushuang and the Hong Kong police heaved a sigh of relief when they found the 3 black gold vaults. The tournament in the casino of Vientiane was still going on. This time, after the intermission, Qin Feng's expression became slightly more serious. The dealer had distributed all the cards, and Qin Feng and the other 3 had placed their chips worth 100 million. Seeing that the dealer was about to let everyone reveal their cards, Qin Feng said, "Everyone, I'm tired after playing for a whole day. I know everyone here is rich, but let's not play with 100 million in one round. It's too boring. How about this? Let's bet everything we have and decide the winner in one round. What do you think?" Qin Feng's words sent the crowd on the first floor into an uproar. They watched as Qin Feng and the other 3 bet 100 million in one round, and they were on the verge of orgasm. In the end, Qin Feng was not interested in this kind of gambling game, and he almost fell asleep. This gambling king competition made everyone realize what it meant to be a truly rich person. Everyone felt that the difference between them and Qin Feng and these people wasn't just a little bit. Here it comes. Master Honda, Xiao Feng is serious. Wei Tianhao and Honda, who were in the lounge, jumped up. The 2 of them had been waiting for the whole morning, and the most exciting moment had finally arrived. All right, I still have 10 billion left. Are you in? Lia began to execute the plan that Qin Feng had discussed with her. Second master, he was still expressionless. He said calmly, "I also have about 10 billion left. I can play this round with you guys." Since Qin Feng and the other 2 had made their stand, everyone's gaze fell on Traceless. Haha. Since the three of you have agreed, then I have no reason to reject. 10 billion. I'm in. When Traceless said that she could follow, the crowd went wild. The dealer's body was trembling slightly. He was also considered a person who had seen big scenes. But this was the first time he had encountered a 40 billion yuan game. It was time to reveal the cards. The hearts of the spectators in the hall on the first floor jumped to their throats. Many people had a heart attack and were carried out to the hospital for emergency treatment. In the lounge on the second floor, Wei Tianhao and Honda were so close to the night view screen that their eyes were almost glued to it. Ao Wucheng and Ao Shaowan watched the game in the inner hall. Both of them had calm smiles on their faces, as if everything was under their control. Miss Li, please show your cards first. This time, Lia's card was the smallest, so the dealer looked at Lia and said, Lia did not care about winning or losing this round at all. Her mission today was to scam Wei Tianhao and the island nation's Yamaguchi-gumi's black money. Lia flipped her jade hands, and her trump card fell onto the table. Lia's cards were not big. After she revealed her trump cards, they were all smaller than Qin Feng and Traceless 4 open cards. Miss Li's cards are small, she has been eliminated. The dealer said. The crowd exclaimed again. Lia's elimination meant that Lia's 10 billion had all been lost. This was 10 billion, a number that these spectators did not even dare to think about. The dealer's gaze fell on Second Master He again. Second Master He was expressionless today, and no one knew what he was thinking. Even though it was the last game, Second Master He did not look nervous at all. He slowly spread out his cards. Mr. He's cards are small out, the dealer said after looking at Second Master He's cards. Now only Qin Feng and Traceless were left on the table, and Traceless's cards were slightly bigger than Qin Feng's. Mr. Traceless, please show your cards. The dealer looked at Traceless. Traceless smiled slightly and flipped out his trump card. He was a leopard with 3 big Ks. This card was already very big, and it caused a commotion in the hall. TSK. As expected of the #1 expert in the international gambling world, Traceless will definitely win this round. The world of the rich is too scary. Traceless has earned 30 billion this round. Does Traceless have a wife? Is it too late for me to have plastic surgery now? Only Qin Feng's trump card was left. Everyone's gaze fell on Qin Feng. Mr. Qiao, please show your cards. The dealer looked at Qin Feng, and his voice trembled when he spoke. Once Qin Feng showed his cards, this game of 40 billion chips would be settled. Clap. Qin Feng waved his hand, and his trump card fell on the table. It was a great shun of hearts 910JQK. Just looking at it was pleasing to the eye. Hiss. The moment Qin Feng flipped his cards, the entire casino of Vientiane fell into silence. Moments later, the casino of Vientiane was in an uproar. Everyone was shouting and yelling crazily. No one knew what they were so excited about. Fuck. Master Honda, did I see wrongly? Xiao Feng has a great shun of hearts. Oh. We won. Wei Tianhao jumped up in excitement, and Honda's cold expression finally broke into a smile. Ao Wucheng and Ao Xiaowan's expressions didn't change much when they saw Qin Feng had won. It was as if Qin Feng was supposed to win. Lia, Second Master He, and Traceless stood up. Their expressions didn't change much when they saw Qin Feng's trump card. It was as if they had already guessed the outcome of this game. Bang! A loud noise suddenly resounded in the lounge on the second floor. The tempered glass on the second floor was smashed open, and a Japanese ninja in a black samurai suit immediately stood up after rolling twice on the ground. Captain Kozo, what are you doing? Honda's expression changed drastically when he saw Kozo barging into the lounge. Captain Honda, the Black Vault of Wanlong Temple has been discovered. Kozo was one of the 4 ninjas who went to the Wanryuji Temple to withdraw money. The other 3 ninjas were killed by Yen Wushuang. Kozo admitted that he was no match for Yen Wushuang, so he took advantage of the chaos to escape by using the invisibility technique. He rushed all the way to inform Honda. Honda's expression changed. He suddenly felt that something was wrong. When he looked at the LCD screen again, there was no one in the super VIP room. Instead, there were a few more people in his lounge. Honda-san, what do you think? Do you believe me now that I can defeat Traceless? Qin Feng clasped his hands behind his back and looked at Honda with a smile. Next to Qin Feng, Ao Wuchang Lie's second master He and Traceless stood in a row. The six of them blocked the door of the lounge, and no one could enter or leave. Haha. Amazing, Brother Qiao Feng is indeed amazing. That last game really made me dumbfounded. Wei Tianhao didn't know how to react. He went up to greet Qiao Feng and Ao Wuchang. Honda was so angry that his eyeballs almost popped out. He slapped Wei Tianhao's face and said, "Idiot. They're in cahoots. We've been tricked." Wei Tianhao forgot about the burning pain on his face. He looked at Qin Feng and the others with a puzzled expression. They're in cahoots? That's right, they're in cahoots. Wei Tianhao was already confused, and he was even more confused after Honda slapped him. From the moment Qiao Feng entered the house, Honda guessed that he had been tricked, because Qiao Feng came in with Traceless, and Kozo told Honda that the Black Vault at Wanryuji had been discovered. Honda immediately connected the dots. Hee Honda-san, it seems like you're not that stupid after all. You're right, we're in cahoots. Qin Feng had just received news from Yin Wushuang and the Hong Kong police that the other two Black Vaults had been found. Therefore, Qin Feng and the others had nothing to worry about anymore. What? You're in cahoots with Traceless? Motherfucker, you're too shameless. Wei Tianhao finally understood the situation. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood when he found out that today's Gambling King tournament was a show arranged by Qiao Feng. Uncle He, why the fuck are you still standing there? Come over here. Wei Tianhao glared at second master He coldly. Honda slapped Wei Tianhao's face again and roared angrily. You idiot. That old fart is obviously on their side. If I'm not mistaken, he's the informant sent by the Hong Kong police to infiltrate your Dafahao. Honda was indeed cunning and ruthless. Without Qin Feng saying anything, he quickly understood the situation. Wei Tianhao's eyes were wide open. Second master He had been in Defugo Casino for almost 5 years. In order to solve this money laundering case, the Hong Kong police had really cast a wide net. Wei Tianhao really didn't suspect second master He before. When Qin Feng found out that Li Ye's informant was hiding in Defugo Casino, she refused to tell Qin Feng anything. Qin Feng couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he tried. When he found out that second master He was the informant sent by the Hong Kong police, he was dumbfounded. Bastard, you're the one who found the Wanlong Temple's black gold vault, right? Honda quickly calmed down and was no longer as angry as before. That's right. We also found the black gold vault at the North Mountain Pass. Qin Feng smirked. Honda's calmed down emotions were stirred up again. He had set up 3 black gold vaults in Hong Kong, and now they were all discovered. Seeing that Honda's head was about to emit smoke, Qin Feng continued. Oh right, we're the ones who found the abandoned factory in Shan District. And the 13 gangsters ghost-stealing Lord, 8 guardian deities. I killed them all. They didn't betray you. Qin Feng told Honda everything that he didn't know. Honda's face turned darker and darker. The veins on his face bulged, and his eyeballs almost popped out. P.S. Recommending a fantasy novel written by young Master Du's good friend. The King of Xia Dynasty by Misty Rain Introduction. 7 years ago, a woman named Fan Lingyue from the Northern Ming royal court appeared out of nowhere. In just a short 7 years, she unified the government. The great Xia dynasty, which had been invincible for 1,000 years, faced the greatest threat in 1,000 years. At this moment, a shy young man walked into the Xia palace. Those who are interested in the book shortage should check it out. Chapter 752. When Qin Feng visited the Hong sect yesterday and saw Wei Tianhao looking for Ao Wuchang to cooperate with him, Qin Feng came up with a brilliant plan. Qin Feng asked Ao Wuchang to pretend to cooperate with Yamaguchi Gumi and help them launder their money in the gambling tournament. His purpose was to make Yamaguchi Gumi lower their guard. Li Ye joined Qin Feng's plan and got second master He to help him. Traceless was Ao Wuchang's helper. Today's gambling tournament was Qin Feng's plan. Qin Feng, Traceless, and the other 3 were in cahoots with each other. They had planned this game for Wei Tianhao and Honda to see. Qin Feng's purpose was to find all the black gold vaults that Yamaguchi-gumi had set up in Hong Kong. Now that Qin Feng's plan was successful, it was time to reel in the net. Honda's expression changed drastically after he heard Qin Feng's words. His anger and malevolence faded into calmness. Honda had long known that Qiao Feng was a member of China's dragon sect. He planned to kill Qiao Feng, and his accomplices after Qiao Feng helped him win the money. Little did he expect that Qiao Feng's plan would be even better. Hehe. Good, very good. It's been a long time since I've met such a strong opponent like you. The members sent by China's dragon sect were all trash. They were wiped out by my Yamaguchi-gumi in just a few moves. I didn't expect you to reach this stage. It's really beyond my expectations. A cruel smile appeared on Honda's face. He started to compliment Qin Feng. Judging from his expression, he was not nervous at all. The 3 black gold vaults you set up in Hong Kong have been investigated. Yamaguchi-gumi's money laundering plan has failed. You are surrounded by us now. But you don't seem to be worried at all, Qin Feng asked Honda. Honda burst into laughter. Haha, what's there to be afraid of? It's just 3 black gold vaults that have been discovered. Our empire has more than 3 black vaults in Wuxia. Our money laundering activities are much crazier than you think. The black vaults of our empire are all over Wuxia. You only stopped the money laundering operation in Hong Kong. Compared to the entire black money laundering plan of our empire, it's not even worth mentioning. Everyone's expression changed when they heard the shocking news from Honda. They didn't expect Japan to be so arrogant to carry out a money laundering scheme in China. Honda was even more pleased with himself when he saw their shocked expressions. He continued, Qiao Feng, I know you're from China's dragon sect. And I also know Liya is from Hong Kong's police force. You guys set up such a big trap to catch me, right? Unfortunately, you guys are still too naive. I can even capture China's blue dragon, Ji Yi. What can you do to me? Honda's plan had clearly failed, and he was now trapped here. However, he acted fearlessly, as if Qin Feng and the others were the ones trapped here. Do you really think that Senior Ji Yi is in your hands? Then who is this person behind me? Qin Feng's voice rang out, and the Honda immediately fell silent. A tall and sturdy man stood behind Qin Feng. The man was at least 2 meters tall, and his body was taller than 2 skinny monkeys. He stood tall and unyielding like a mountain. Just a glance at him was enough to send shivers down one's spine. The man wore a silver armor made of unknown material, and a red cloak was draped over his shoulders. There was no wind in the lounge, but the cloak on the man's shoulders was fluttering violently, as if he was about to charge into the battlefield. He was the blue dragon Ji Yi, one of the 9 dragons of China. His appearance stunned Honda. Blue dragon? Why are you here? Aren't you locked up in a secret base? Honda finally regained his senses, and the arrogance he had just displayed was gone. There was another person standing behind the blue dragon. However, the blue dragon was tall and sturdy, and he blocked Huang Jingguo's view. Huang Jingguo realized that Lan Long had stolen his limelight. He angrily circled around Lan Long, and came to Ao Wuchang's side. Division Master Wuchang, I've been ordered to lead 50 elites of the White Tiger Hall, and have successfully rescued Lan Long. Ao Wuchang nodded at Huang Jingguo, and Huang Jingguo retreated with satisfaction. Honda finally realized that he had underestimated Qiao Feng. He didn't expect that Qiao Feng's plan was not only for the Black Gold Vault, but also for the Blue Dragon. Honda's attitude toward Qiao Feng had changed countless times. When he first saw Qiao Feng at Defugo Casino, he did not think much of him. But today, Qiao Feng had made great progress in the Gambling King tournament, and Honda finally started to look at Qiao Feng seriously. At this moment, Honda's heart was filled with shock. Qiao Feng's schemes and foresight had left Honda in the dust. Clap, clap, clap. Honda was silent for a while, and then he suddenly clapped his hands. The lounge on the second floor was very quiet. Only Honda's sudden clap sounded very strange. A strange smile appeared on Honda's face again. Impressive. You really are impressive. But so what? It's just a blue dragon. He's nothing to us. Even the heavenly ninjas of Yamaguchi-gumi can deal with him, let alone the 6 shinobi of Japan. At this moment, Wei Tianhao was so scared that he collapsed to the ground, but Honda's expression did not change at all. Everyone was shocked. Everyone knows how to brag. Japan is nothing but an ant in front of the great land of China. Qin Feng didn't want to waste his breath on Honda anymore. His plan had been completed. The blue dragon was rescued, and the rest of the black gold vault was discovered. All he needed to do now was to subdue Honda and Wei Tianhao, and hand them over to the Hong Kong police for legal proceedings. Shroom. Qin Feng raised his palm, and a gust of wind whistled in the air. The white light expanded and reached Honda's knees in the blink of an eye. However, before it could sever Honda's legs, it was blocked by a long and thin katana. Clang! A crisp sound rang out, and everyone's expression changed drastically. A woman with a graceful figure had appeared in front of Honda. The woman wore a black samurai suit, and she held a long and thin katana in her hands. She struck a cruel pose and stared coldly at Qin Feng and the others. Haha, sick man of China. Do you think you can catch me with just a few people? You've been here for so long, but none of you have noticed Miss Chiyoya's presence. What a joke! Is this the strength of a Chinese martial artist? Honda stood with his hands behind his back and mocked Qin Feng and the others fearlessly. Qin Feng and Ao Wuchang were shocked. Blue Dragon Jiye's eyes were also filled with surprise. The three of them were the strongest among them, but none of them noticed Chiyoya's presence. Division Leader Wuchang Senior Jiyi, hold that female ninja back. I'll go catch Wei Tianhao and Honda. Qin Feng was very adaptable. He quickly calmed down and leaped toward Honda. Chiyoya swung her katana horizontally, and a thick layer of saber chi shot out, forcing Qin Feng to take a few steps back. That's Japan's #1 ninja, Chiyoya. Everyone be careful. Jiya's eyes emitted a cold murderous intent when he saw Chiyoya. It seemed like Chiyoya was one of the people who caught Blue Dragon. Ji and Ao Wuchang had already made their move. When they moved, they turned into two afterimages. Liya's second master he, and the others could not see where they were at all. Fall. Blue Dragon had already grasped the opportunity. He swung his giant arm, and a domineering machete appeared in his hand. He swung the machete down, and with a momentum that could topple mountains and overturn seas, the sofa was instantly split in half. Chiyoya, who was standing on the sofa, suddenly disappeared. No one knew where she had hidden herself. This woman is so hard to deal with. Wind God's kick. Ao Wuchang suddenly leaped into the air. His legs were like electric fans. No, they were several times faster than electric fans. He stomped on the air. The air in midair was pierced through, and there was a series of explosions. A black shadow suddenly flashed, and it was Chiyoya. The ninjas of Japan might not be as strong as the martial artists of China, but their invisibility and ninjutsu were a huge headache for the Chinese martial artists. Even if Ao Wuchang and Ji joined forces, they would not be able to subdue Chiyoya in a short period of time. The battle between the three of them was extremely intense. With a leap, Qin Feng arrived at Wei Tianhao's side. Wei Tianhao had long since fallen to the ground in fear, and did not even have the strength to escape. Qin Feng casually kicked Wei Tianhao to Li Ye's side, and as soon as Wei Tianhao landed on the ground he fainted. Honda, how dare you come to China to launder money? I'll make you regret it. After Qin Feng subdued Wei Tianhao, he leaped into the air again, and slammed his palm toward Honda's chest. Honda had been standing with his hands behind his back the whole time. He did not move at all in the face of Qin Feng's attack. Instead, he even had a sinister smile on his face, which confused Qin Feng. Not good. All of a sudden, Qin Feng's expression changed drastically. He sensed an extremely dangerous aura rapidly approaching him. Qin Feng had no choice but to withdraw his hand, which was originally aimed at the Honda. Before he could regain his balance, he quickly turned around and struck out with his palm. Boom! There was a loud noise in the air, and the whole lounge began to shake. As soon as the palm fell, Qin Feng was sent flying and hit the innermost wall, spitting out blood. At the place where Qin Feng had been standing, a figure covered in a black robe suddenly appeared. The person's appearance could not be seen clearly, and even the general figure could not be distinguished. However, He emitted waves of evil qi, which made Li Ye and the others uncontrollably take a few steps back. Xiaofeng, are you okay? Seeing that Qin Feng was injured, Ao Xiaowan hurriedly ran over, held Qin Feng's arm, and began to carefully examine Qin Feng's injury. Watch out! Qin Feng had just caught his breath when the black-robed man slapped him again. Qin Feng had no time to think. He quickly turned over and held Ao Xiaowan in his arms, using his back to support the lives of the two of them. Boom! A loud noise rang in Qin Feng's ears, but he did not feel anything wrong with his body. He hurriedly turned around and saw Ao Wuchang standing in front of him, blocking the black-robed man's palm. Qin Feng did not know how strong Ao Wuchang was, but Qin Feng knew that he was no match for him. When the palms collided, Ao Wuchang directly spat out a large mouthful of blood. The black-robed man did not seem to have an advantage either. His body was sent flying and directly fell to the ground. Brother, are you okay? Ao Xiaowan had just seen the man she liked being beaten, and now she saw her brother vomiting blood. She was so anxious that tears fell from her eyes. Ao Wuchang stretched out his hand and blocked Qin Feng and his sister behind him. He waved his hand and did not say anything. Li Ye, second master He, and Wu Hen were all ordinary people. In the face of this battle between the strongest, they were so anxious that their bodies were on fire. But there was nothing they could do. When Huang Jinghua saw that division leader Wu Chang was injured, he angrily led a dozen Hong sect disciples and rushed toward the black-robed man. Wu Chang roared and wanted to stop them, but it was too late. Bang, bang, bang. There was another loud noise around them. Huang Jinghua and the others were no match for the black-robed man. The difference in strength was too great. When the dozen people rushed forward, they were all sent flying in the next second. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.